Cambridge to Boston, lives in a world she's lost in, victim of compromise. He's staring at her Aberdeen heart, London eyes, Glasgow bones. She's whistling the catacombs, a paradox. He's in love with the statue in a marble block. He's in love with the girl that time forgot. She just shakes her ears. She's falling too far with salt in her scars. Won't let it taste her tears.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the fourth No Name Weekly. My name's Coltarin, and joining me is the lovely Amnesia.
How's it going?
Today we will be casting, the entire tournament, as always. If you don't know what this is a tournament put on by TB Ham, and it has a $5 prize pool featuring Masters players from the CTL, from the CTL, and they will compete for the $5, which is a McDonald's feast of their choice, and we'll be starting off with I'm not sure what his name is on there, Maujahid and Listel. Also in the bracket is Picker versus Blaze, Monk versus Raz, and then Kazi versus Exiled. And so we've seen, the last time we saw Listel play, we saw him have a dominating performance, I believe dropping 1, maybe 2 maps. And so we'll have to see if he can keep up that dominant performance this time. What are your thoughts, Amnesia?
I actually haven't seen either of these players play yet, so
okay.
I don't know. I mean, Zerg's pretty overpowered, so.
So we'll hop right into it. Spawning in the top right position, in the pink, representing Team Lost in Translation, it is Listel.
And spawning down here in the bottom left-hand side is the blue Terran player, Outsets Maujahid.
And apparently, Maujahid is an older player from the CTL, from I think before I joined. I think his name was, looking so I don't say something random, Alkeister.
Okay.
So good to see old players returning. Last time we saw him, he competed in Rush's quote-unquote weekly diamond tournament, and he won that. And now he's up with the big leagues, up in Masters.
Yeah. So what do you think about this map?
This map, I think, in these spawns, I'm not expecting anything terribly weird from either player. We do see just fairly standard things from both players. We do see 2 racks coming out from Magic, which 3 actually. So this is most likely 3 racks. I can't see it being anything else.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because of the way that these bases are laid out, the Reapers are extremely powerful because they can basically jump up into either base at any spot. And it's also, when your natural's so far away from your main, kind of hard to defend against the Zerg. So makes a lot of sense to go for this kind of early aggression.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually had forgotten about how that entire ledge is a Reaper's paradise. So we'll have to see if Listel's ready for this. Otherwise, it could be doing some serious damage here. Reapers are starting to get made.
Coming out 3 at a time.
Yeah, that's 4 now with the reactor. That's brutal. We'll have to see if Listel's ready for this.
That's really cool. I've seen some Mass Reaper strategies, and they're always a lot of fun to watch. If you control them correctly, they can be surprisingly effective.
Mm-hmm. First Reapers are popping out here and making their way across the map. And we do see a very early layer here from Listel without any tech other than a spawning pool, not even speed being researched here. So he might be in some trouble. He has 1 queen, 2 queens total, but 1 at each base, and the Reapers are starting to arrive, although he's not choosing to go in yet.
Yeah, we'll see. This is definitely he's definitely gonna take a lot of damage here. He's 3 Reapers now in the base. This queen doing his best to hold him off, but now with the 4th Reaper joining them, I think his best bet at this point is just to try to hold his.
Yeah.
Transfer those drones out of there, because I think Mauji could just go in and start picking off drones whenever he feels like.
Especially with 4 more Reapers being made every few seconds here. The Reapers are just kind of chilling. I would like to see him go up into the main and just start ripping apart the drones, but instead he's choosing to fight the army, which he's getting his work done, so can't really fault him for it.
I'm surprised he's not focus firing too much though, so that one, there's 2 wounded queens that are hanging on quite nicely, but he hasn't lost any Reapers either, so.
Nice Chanteuse there. And the Reapers back off for a second, and here they go. They do take out 1 queen, barely surviving from the other.
Yeah, now that these queens are falling, and I think he's got 8 roaches on the way, so.
Yeah, if he can hold on, he has the potential to bring this back. With the spine crawler up in the main, if the main's a mineral line, he won't be able to do too much more damage to that, and the roaches will push this out.
Those charges are so annoying to try to deal with roaches though, because they don't have that great of a range to begin with. When they get knocked back, it's so annoying to. I mean, there's still really no. He can hold it off and he can defend now, but there's no way that he can move out on the map. Meanwhile, Terran player taking his own expansion. He's got a worker lead at this. And every engagement, the Terran player is just trading much more effectively. Killing off a larva there, nice move.
Yeah, I like how he's doing that. And we do see the Reapers move in, focus firing down these roaches, and will catch these Ravagers, actually.
Oh my gosh,
That's huge losses here. And we do see about a 20 supply lead for Maujahid, chasing down the drones. GG is called. Maujahid takes game 1.
Really quick game number 1. I really like that build too. Because it kind of, starting off with something a little bit weird and unorthodox can really put your opponent on tilt. Yeah.
Absolutely. And especially utilizing the map really well like that is just really good, really strong play. And I think may send a message as to how the series goes. It'll be up to Listel to get off the back foot and bring the series back. And apparently Maljahid did compete in the last season of CSL, but forfeit in the round of 16. Obviously, as his old name, Alcaster, or however you would pronounce that. And so we're heading into game 2 here. And this is going to be on Prion Terraces. How do you think this match is going to go?
I mean, Prion Terraces is always, I think, a good choice for a Zerg player. But seeing how that last game went, it's very likely that Maljahid has some kind of build mapped out for this specific map. Because I would think that the last map he had that build specially for that map. So I wouldn't say that it has the same kind of setup going into this map as well.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely be interesting to see because Listel is a strong player and I believe has won on this map in previous weeks. So we'll have to see. Have to see if Maljahid does have that build prepared, or if Listel can bust something out maybe. So spawning in the bottom right, in the pink, representing Team Lit, down 1 game, it is Listel.
And up here in the top left-hand side, up 1 game, hoping to close out this set already, is going to be the Red Terran player, Outsets Maljahid.
Both these players have pretty interesting names. I've never seen anything really close to Listel or Maljahid.
Yeah, I mean, Maljahid seems a little bit more random unless I'm reading that wrong. Yes. But Listel I kind of like. It reminds me of Listerine.
Minty fresh Listel. I like it.
Exactly.
We do see a hatch first coming down for Listel here, and looks like this very similar opening from Maljahid, just looking like he's going to go into some Reaper production. This time, so far, no extra barracks, and looks like actually that might be scouting. Yeah, that's just scouting. So he is saving up, so probably an expansion here.
Yeah,
just very standard.
I think it makes sense too to go for the safer build because a lot of the times, people try to be a little bit greedier on this map because of the natural, and Zerg can kind of play into that meta and try to fool, and it can go south very, very quickly. I think Maljahid's still making the right choices so far.
Absolutely. Spawning pool finishing up pretty soon here for our Zerg player, and Reaper coming out for Maljahid as we expected. No second CC here yet. Looks like as I say that though, he is going to go down and take that. So yeah, this Reaper probably won't be able to do too much. We'll just poke around, see what he can see, and get out. Although with this SCV here, I'm not sure if that's really necessary. Because this SCV does get a full scout off.
I mean, the Reaper at the very least is a Zerg player in his base. The way that, they have that back kind of entrance for the Reapers there, a lot of times that allows the Reaper to be able to go in, poke, and get out, because he does have 2 options for him there.
Yeah, very good point. And almost getting caught there.
Nice charge there.
Yeah, and a little bit of hits coming down, but again, just nice micro from Maljahid, keeping this Reaper alive.
Yeah, I mean, his control, right there, he was controlling us so much better than Liz.
Yeah, and that's not to say that Liz was bad, there's just crazy control.
No, I mean, that Reaper control, he was predicting where Liz would go every single time. Was able to pick off those 2 Zerglings, only taking 1 or 2 shots onto the Reaper. Of course, he can go regen just by jumping down the cliff there for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, really strong play so far. We'll have to see how he transitions that into his later game comps. Roachborn coming down. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say Speed is gonna finish up shortly, so the Reaper harass was gonna end, but then got taken out anyway.
Yeah, Starport coming down with a siege tank as well as 2 extra barracks here for Maljahid.
Hope we're going to see some tank drops.
That would be very interesting, especially...
What do they call them? Meta tanks?
Tankovacs, I think?
Tankovacs, yeah.
Bunker at the top of the ramp here. These Lings, if they do decide to come up, probably won't do too much, and they do back off. Tech Lab coming down on one of his barracks here. And so far, it just looks like he's content to kind of build up an army, maybe go for some sort of push. But for now, just kind of holding up at home. Roach is coming out for Listel. My bad.
Really like Maujahid's control too. He's like sent one Marine out of that bunker to poke at the Zerglings and see if they were still out front. It's just that kind of stuff that, you know, you have to really be good at multitasking to do little things like that, because if you screw something up while you're trying to do that, it obviously doesn't pay for itself. But if you just have extra actions to do cool things where you can force.
Yeah, and it looks like Listel is preparing for a little bit of a push here. He
Yeah,
has some
definitely.
Lings, Roach Ravager outside the base. We'll have
And he's
to-
taking his third behind that too, so I mean this isn't all in by any means, but
Oh,
this
yeah.
could do a nice amount of damage. Ravager shots just right.
I like this use of the Tankovac here.
I do too.
Getting a little bit
Got to
of
be
damage.
careful with it though, yeah. That's not an easy thing to micro.
Oh yeah, not at all. Just very impressive play here from Maujahid. Stim coming out for him. Meanwhile, third base going down. Lair coming out for Listel. And it looks like he's just going to kind of keep pressure on with this army, but not look to do too much. He's in a pretty comfortable position for himself. Baneling Nest coming down, as well as an Evolution Chamber. So
Yeah,
it'll
I
be
don't-
interesting to see how
I don't know if he
makes,
actually
what he makes his call.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I don't know if he actually saw that there were that many Marines at the top, and that's why Nest, or if this is part of his build, but I mean, it will work out pretty nicely, the Maujahid seems
Yeah.
to have so far.
Looks like a drop getting loaded up for Maujahid here, heading up along the top side of the map.
I think
Will
it
get
should-
spotted, though.
Yeah. Listel's map presence is really, really good right now. There's only a few spaces that medevac could even fit through.
Yeah, and like this, and his creep is already looking pretty decent here. And yeah, just control of, like, there's nowhere on this map that Maujahid can move without Listel knowing about it. And he did back off from that pressure, unless I'm completely missing his army. Yeah, did back off from that pressure, has his third base up, and Listel is now mining from it. Looking to get that saturated pretty quickly. This drop, heading along the bottom side of the map, is going to get spotted by the watchtower. In the top side of the map here, this drop does boost away from the army and finds a little bit of
Yeah.
a hole.
Listel was waiting for that too. So some of the roaches coming down there and try to clean that up, and it looks like the medevac's going to escape, only losing one Marine to that, and also allowing this other medevac in the south here to start unloading. And I don't think that Listel doesn't seem to be responding to it at all, so he might have just completely missed that floating across his mini-map.
Yeah. He is getting in the drones here. Meanwhile, he is getting centrifugal hooks and carapace upgrades.
Already cleaning out 8 drones, going for that Spire. He shouldn't be able to get this done, but oh, it's
Very
getting so close.
Meanwhile, that other drop does get cleaned up, loses the medevac with about 6 Marines inside. Nice
Hard
pickup
to-
there.
Here in the south, and probably try to poke back up there when there's some sort of engagement map and try to finish off that Spire.
Carapace upgrades finishing up now, and infantry level 1 upgrades for Maujahid finishing up in just about here. Mutalisks are out and will chase this medevac down. Does
Meanwhile,
manage
though,
to
there's
get
a
unloaded.
big push coming across the map here. We've got 3 siege tanks, 4 siege tanks. Pretty big bioforce to support it there, too.
Yeah, it'll all be about these Baneling connections, because with that speed, if he's not expecting it, could be pretty dangerous here.
Maujahid there, splitting his forces up, only sending small pockets forward for right now.
Muta swooping in on the side here. These tanks are a little exposed, but he is moving them up.
I mean, Listel's set up for a nice flank. He's got units in, like, on all sides here. And there we go. The Baneling's coming in, Getting a nice connection on the right side there.
Mutalisks getting free shots on these tanks, taking out 2 of them already. Now getting hit by the reinforcements, and Magic Heat survives.
Yeah, it looks like he's finally pushing that back. That was a great engagement, I thought, for Listel, but I think in the end, Magic Heat just had too many forces.
Yeah, these Mutalisks are doing huge damage here. They've taken out 3 tanks and about 3 medevacs as well, and only taking out more. Huge losses.
Banelings rolling in from the south there.
Wow.
And they do clean up the rest of that Bio Force. Tanks have been cleaned up. This other tank here left alone. To get cleaned up as well, and these medevacs might get out alive either.
I think the key to that fight was Listel being able to pick off so many forces with such a relatively small force of Mutalisk, and then getting a really nice Baneling hit on that bio when I guess Magic Heat was occupied with other things. Because that was not the level of control we usually see.
Listel just had a really nice surround setup from the very beginning, though. He was waiting for the move out in that position. And I think the burden was definitely on Magic Heat to try to micro out of that situation, whereas Listel could just kind of tell all of his units to attack to the center and his favorite.
I'm not sure I agree with this push, but I do like him cleaning out this creep. I think that'll definitely help him in his future attacks.
I think he's afraid to let the Mutalisks just like run around the map. He has to keep pressure on so that the Mutalisks stay at home.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely going to be a tough fight for him. He doesn't have a lot of forces out here in the center.
I think Listel knows that he's in a good position, is just kind of waiting to get that set up again.
Yeah, he's not getting too crazy. He's not just going to rush in there and those forces.
His 4th base is finishing up, and a 5th base down on the bottom, double expanding there. Meanwhile, meanwhile Magic Heat getting his 4th base. He does have a gold base that only has 2 workers on it, so I'm not sure if that's planned or if he's just not utilizing that.
Yeah, I imagine he's going to saturate it here pretty quick, but he really has to babysit this army right now. He can't let any big Baneling connect come in.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a lot to worry about right now. And those forces on the high ground getting cleaned up.
Yeah, 2-2 coming up eventually for Magic Heat, but I think by that point Listel will have just an overwhelming force against this army. Listel just bunching up here at his 3rd, waiting for him to push up.
Really nice tank positioning.
Wow. Those were some good hits.
Yeah, he's making great connections here. And really, I mean, he's trading so effectively right now. Nice pickup on that tank there, pulling it to the high ground. Zerg forces...
Oh, the Banelings.
Eventually does get the surround there, and his economy is just so good right now. He can afford to take these engagements where he's not actually doing so well, and then just able to outproduce his opponent.
Yeah, the Mutalisks are chasing down these medevacs. And now, suddenly, Magic Heat's on the back foot. Now he's going to have to hold this arguably superior army from Listel, and I'm not sure that he can without a very, very good engagement here. Planetary Fortress coming out for his 4th base, I guess that would be? Yeah. 4th base, Adrenal Glance on the way for Listel.
Yeah, that's
2-2 finishing up soon.
And Magic Heat has to do something really miraculous at this point. He's quite a bit behind. He has the less mobile army, so it should be the stronger army, but I feel like he can't even get head-on engagement right now. Listel playing it pretty safe right now, I'd say. I think he could probably do a little bit more damage than he's done so far, but he's just going to wait for those upgrades to kick in. He's going to get some Ultralisks out, and...
Yeah, we see a drop coming out from Magic Heat coming along the bottom of the map. Does get spotted by an Overlord, so not sure how much damage this is going to be able to do. Drops on the empty base, which, might draw some overreaction here from Listel, depending on how he sees this. He does see the main army, though, moving across the top side of the map. And his army's in position, just waiting.
Yeah, it looks like he's really preparing for that main army. He's going to let that drop just do whatever it wants down there at that base. He doesn't really need it. And there go the Zerg forces rolling in. These Banelings just doing whatever they want. He didn't even have to micro those.
Yeah, just
Letting them
brutal
explode on
hits here,
tanks.
just destroying Majikid's army.
When
Majikid
you
does
have
have to start moving in the main, but not sure how much it's going to do with these links popping pretty soon.
when you have the freedom to roll banelings into tank, you're in a good spot.
Oh yeah. Does lose some medevac, so these Marines are doomed to die. Meanwhile, Litzel had a small force push towards that third base of Majikid, which does get pushed back.
And Listel just plays this extremely safe. He definitely fears the turtle ability of Terran. I don't get pushed in. So I guess he's worried that that's really the only way that he's going to lose if he overcommits and loses to a counterattack. Because Majid has shown that he can be incredibly cost effective with his positioning, and when engagements are on his terms, he does really well. So.
Yeah, and that's been just the name of the game. Just Majikid pushing into Listel, Listel getting set up, and then Majikid just getting picked apart from all sides. And again, we see Majikid pushing out. We'll have to see if he can change his fate here. Listel does push into this army here. Baneling's getting some decent connections, but not really the ones he's looking for on the rest of this bio.
Yeah, he did a great job of making sure that the Banelings weren't connecting with the Marines, but there were quite a few Marauders and tanks taken out in that little fight there, so it's still going to be a hard hold here for Majikid. Hard.
Yep, and wow. Okay.
Wow.
GG. Listel gets taken out 2-0 in the first round. Huge takedown for Majikid there. I think that a big issue that Listel had was that he wasn't spending. I think that he didn't have enough larva. He wasn't spending his money as efficiently, just in terms of raw production, as Majikid was. I think he had around 2,500 gas at the end of that game. Just wow, that was a very interesting game. I felt that Listel took a lot of good fights, but just didn't capitalize on it because, like you said, he was playing safe, kind of scared almost.
I felt like he was in a pretty decent spot though. Like, I mean, he still had a lot of bases. I think he probably still could have held that last base, just with another round of Zerglings and Banelings. And
yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that his Adrenal Glands had either just finished or was about to finish. Which is a big power spike as well. For those
I think I'd have to go back and watch that because maybe he was almost mined out or something, so he was worried that, like because that base in the bottom side there was taken out, maybe his income was starting to wane, and he knew that he was going to have to keep out producing his opponent in order to keep up. But his upgrades were really good. He had cracklings out. I'm surprised there weren't ultralisks out, but. Even still, I mean, I felt like he still had the production on his side. I definitely, even if he was like starting to, his engagements were becoming more and more cost ineffective, he still had the production.
Yeah, absolutely. The next match that we'll have on stream here is Majikid versus Picker. Meanwhile, other results are Picker beat Blaze 2-0. We have Monk versus Raz still going on. We do have and then we have Ninkazi versus Exiled. Ninkazi won 2-0. Just as a reminder, this tournament is double elimination from, I believe, round 2 onwards. So that does mean that Listel, Blaze, and Exiled are eliminated from this tournament, which are some very good players that were taken out.
Yeah, that last game that we casted was really close. Like,
yeah, I definitely think that match could have gone either way there, and in the end, just Majikid edging it out.
Yeah, I think really the only thing that I could find fault with was that he wasn't really putting any counter pressure on. There was only one missile turret base for the Terran player, so when he had won those engagements and put all the way back to his base, I was surprised they didn't fly some Mutalisks and at least try to pick off like a reactor or something like
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely would have. Yeah, definitely would have liked to see Listel harass a lot more during that game. Because like it just felt like Malzahid would take these engagements and come out worse for wear, and Listel would get more bases and get himself in a theoretically better position, and then just wouldn't capitalize on that.
Right, yeah.
Videos going down here in party chat, so we're just waiting on those, and then we will be into game one. Looks like the first map will be Prion Terraces, where we just saw Malzahid have a decent amount of success, I would say. And then second map will be Olrena, which I believe leaves Dusk or Ceres. Yeah, so that leaves Ruins of Ceres, which makes our map order Prion Terraces, Olrena, and then Ruins of Ceres. I'm pretty sure I said that name 3 different times in the 3 times I said it. Are you familiar with Picker at all? Have you seen any of his games in the previous tournaments?
I believe I casted one a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He's a very strong player.
What's your prediction going into this series? Who do you think's going to take it, and what's the score?
I'm gonna say, geez, tough. I'm gonna say 2-1 Peaker.
Yeah, I think I want to agree with you. I think Picker's a much better, at least in terms of what we've seen today, much better at harassing. Better at harassing and just being aggressive, because he is known as sort of a cheesy player or overly aggressive.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if he can pull that out here. Spawning in the bottom right, representing Unit 5 and or Team Unrivaled, it is Picker.
And spawning up here on the top left side is going Red Terran player, who we just got to see 2-0 Listel, and it's going to be Malzahid. I worded that.
And already we see Picker proven, tried and true, the good old 14-14. And it looks like Malzahid's just going to stick with what he's been doing, and I'm not sure. It'll be interesting to see how that works out against this build coming out from Picker here. Spawning pool finishing up pretty soon when we do have 3 drones mining gas. And so we know Picker. We know what he's going to go for here. He's probably just going to get a lot of Lings, possibly transition into Baneling Bust. We do see a Queen coming out from him, and Ling production is now starting. And meanwhile, no SCV Scout just yet for Malzahid, but we do see 3 racks.
As it looks like he's going for his Reaper build once again, which I'm guessing Peaker probably didn't see that game because he was playing his own game. So this might take him by surprise, but with Lings already out on the map, I don't think it's going to work as well as it did in the last set.
Yeah, definitely not. Although with Malzahid's control, he might be able to make something work here. SCV doing really nice dodges. Well, it might dodge / checking for proxies from Picker, dodging the scouting SCV here.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how this is going to work out, because I think the Reaper cheese beats the Zergling cheese.
He's going for his Overlord drop here. He has the Evolution Chamber finished up. He's gathering up the Zerglings here.
Oh, that's really rough then, because
yeah, if this Reaper leaves, Malzahid's in a really bad spot.
I don't know.
I
think he's still in a good position. He's got 4 Reapers coming out at a time, so I mean, he's not really depending on a wall. He's got the Reapers, so he doesn't really even need a wall all that much, and that's what the Overlord is designed to bypass. So
yeah, speed does finish up here, and at this point it'll come down to control. SCVs are pulled, and the Lings, now they're in a dance here. The Lings are trying to close in, does take out one Reaper, but nice grenades here.
Yeah, that's...
Second Reaper almost falls. Nice positioning here from Malzahid, and it looks like this is going to get forced back. More Lings are coming, and they decide not to load up, which I think is a wise decision for Picker.
Yeah, I think he's just going to have to go back and play defensively, or... I don't know.
Something.
Like, try to prevent an expansion, maybe.
I think at this point, the name of Picker's game here is just going to be to get his own expansion up while putting on enough pressure to where Malzahid couldn't even think about expanding.
Yeah, I mean, he has to be careful with that, though, because if he does try to, like, poke up there and deny an expansion and his Lings get taken out, then this is a lot of Reapers to try to come up with an answer to at home.
Mm-hmm. And looks like both armies are just kind of patrolling their home fronts here. Neither player really wanting to take that risk of attacking the other.
Yeah, man, I think both players are worried about the opponent diving in behind them. So
absolutely, and especially with that drop Overlord still in position here for Picker.
Yeah, you can see he
left that Marine keeping an eye out.
And there go the Reapers up into the main.
Did get spotted really quickly. Wow. Oh, that was almost such a really good
surround. What a great surround there.
That was still really good.
That was really, really good.
Well played from Picker there, catching every single Reaper.
I'm surprised Malzahid kind of blocked himself in behind that mineral line there. I would have thought that he would just grenade to get out of this surround and then run back out of the base, but instead committed all those Reapers. They all died. And now this counterattack, this is going to be... It's not going to end the game, but it's going to be way harder now to take that natural expansion.
Absolutely. And, yeah, we see the Lings just coming to the front. Not going to really find anything because that expansion, it did get built on the high ground. So he's just going to... Picker's just going to poke at this wall here and call it a day. He's backing off. No shenanigans with the drop Overlord a second time. Tech Lab coming down onto the factory here for Malzahid, as well as the starport and Stim on the way. Second base is going down.
Looks like he's just going to kind of like transition into the build that we saw in the second game, where he just goes for the tank and like mostly Marine composition.
Yeah.
But he's definitely playing from behind this time, so it's going to be even more difficult this game than it was last.
Yeah, absolutely. And just exactly what you're saying. Transferring the SCVs over, and so far it looks like he's just transitioning into that build. And we'll have to see what's Picker's response to it, and if he has greater success.
I think one of the worst feelings in StarCraft is when you're playing against a Zerg player who has you pinned in your base and you don't know what's going on outside of your base.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see Malzahid just playing this super defensively. We saw even when he was taking that naturally pulled Marines back up into the bunkers in his main just in case, because he has no idea what Picker's doing behind this. If he's going eco, if he's going to follow it up with a big attack, and he can't be sure, so he can't really leave his base right now.
Yeah, and it's that fear that's just going to allow Picker to get ahead here. We do see him taking his third and fourth gases and getting his third up at that gold base. Roaches and Roach Speed and Ravagers coming out for him. So it looks like he's going to go pretty much what Lista was trying to go for. Just this time he's ahead while Lista was behind. And does scout this drop here from Malzahid, but looks like he's just going to use that to take out this Zergling.
I gotta say, from the games that we've seen, Malzahid has a bad habit of flying his drops right over watchtowers.
Yeah, I guess he's just hoping that he'll get lucky and they won't hold it this time.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not... You've got a million things to do. You're not necessarily thinking of every aspect all the time, but...
Yeah, he does have the potential to pick off a lot of Overlords here. Picker has a lot of them on the map. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are in position to where they could get killed here, and it is supply blocking Picker.
Yeah. I really like that he kind of resigned himself to the fact that his drop wasn't going to do damage in the base, so he's just going around picking off all these overlords. Really cool adaptation there.
Yeah, nice read from Picker almost. He almost read where that drop was going, but does pull that army back into the natural. But he'll know pretty soon here.
And another overlord going to fall.
That's
This is
so much damage here. Like,
Yeah, that
he
is
went from
such a
being
hard
about
supply block.
20 supply down to even because Picker just can't make anything.
But yeah, and then when you're not spending any of this money, like now he's got to figure out how he's going to spend 2,000 minerals, 800 gas when he finally does get enough overlords out.
He doesn't even have any overlords in production right now. He has +1 missile attack, and meanwhile Maljakeed's arriving here.
Yeah, you're right. There we go. Finally getting these overlords in production, but they're a ways out before he gets any units to deal with this. And Maljakeed, I think at this point, can just like 1A to victory.
Pretty much. I mean, six roaches in production finally, because he's losing so much. He has supply open, and the overlords do finish up here. But at this point, like you said, he has 2,000 minerals and 1,000 gas. Like, how do you spend that? 15 roaches in production, but he's losing his third base. He's gonna have a very hard time holding this natural.
This is like the most special forces team of medevac Marines that I've ever seen. This went around and basically won the game all by themselves. You know, he supply blocked him so hard that no more units came out for over a full minute.
Yeah, and now the one remaining Marine of that hero team finally falls.
A noble death.
He died a hero. Maljakeed's army moves up here and is engaging. Some nice drops there, and yeah, GG.
Wow.
That's weird. Yeah.
So no more. I'm not going against Maljakeed anymore. No more predicting against him.
Yeah, Maljakeed's life. He beat Listel, so he absorbed all his powers of going almost undefeated throughout the tournament. Year of Maljakeed. I'm predicting it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, just really nice play from him. Was taking very good engagements and doing a very good job of getting damage done whenever his main ways of getting damage was stopped. I think Picker definitely threw a lead that he had by allowing so much of his supply to be cut off by that small force, and then not making any overlords until almost like 20 seconds after that had all happened.
Yeah, I think he was really kind of freaking out about those. Like once all those overlords started dying, he kind of freaked out, and I don't think he realized how supply blocked he was, because he built a couple of overlords and then stopped making overlords. Like Maljakeed has this superpower where he just makes his opponent super uncomfortable and scared.
I think it's all the capitalization in his name. It's very intimidating.
Yeah.
Spawning in the top position on Arena, in the purple from Unit 5 or Team Unrivaled, it is Picker.
And down here in the bottom left of Old Reyna, hoping to go 2-0 in this set, it's going to be the red Terran player, Maljakeed. And
it'll be interesting to see what these players break out here. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. I kind of like that they changed his name to Maljakeed, because as weird of a name as that is, I don't know how to pronounce his old name at all. So
yeah, it's a lot easier to pronounce for us. So I'm totally okay with this. Looks like another. Looks like this was a little later, maybe 17-17. I don't know what to call that. But pool and gas coming down here for Picker, and looks like another Leaper-esque opening for Maljakeed.
I feel like on this map, you're almost forced to go for something aggressive, because defense is so hard on this map if you just let your opponent have map control.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think I've had a singular macro game on this map, and it was because I just didn't want to go cheesy. Like, it's just so easy. The map is so open to aggression. It's just so easy.
Yeah.
And like you said, that just it's hard to hold that once your opponent gets control of the map.
It's like if there's so many avenues of approach. If you manage to somehow hold that narrow choke point, you get enough units where your defender's advantage takes effect. There are those destructible rocks just a little bit to the east of that, and then drop play is so prevalent on this. You really have to be careful every time you take a new base. It opens you up to so many more attacks.
Yeah, early roaches coming out for Picker here, looks like. So he could be going for some possible Roach Nidus or maybe just straight up Roach Ravager. Will be interesting to see. He does have an Overlord in position if he does choose to go for that Nidus play. Expansion coming in on the high ground from Malchahid, as well as a second gas and reactor on his barracks.
And Ravager play is actually, I think, a really good choice for this map too, because of that narrow choke. You can do some really cool, like, corrosive biles. You know, whether it's breaking through one of those choke points or whether it's holding them. The corrosive bile, I feel like, is much more effective in those areas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really enjoy watching Zergs that have really learned how to use the corrosive bile and will use it to like take out those tanks or force them to get dropped in a bad position.
Yeah, it's a very strong ability.
Yeah. Nice control there from Malchahid.
Yeah, he knows how to use his Reapers for sure. Picking off 2 Zerglings there. And like he's still gonna hold that watchtower too, even seeing these Ravagers being morphed in. He's just gonna hang out and hold that for as long as he can.
Picker blocking off the rest of his army with the one thing.
Oh, and the Reaper will live too.
That Reaper is gonna die a hero if he ever dies. Bunker at the top here for Malchahid. Picker has three Ravagers and 1 Roach here to attack, and I don't think he's gonna get much done here.
No, I don't think so either. And I mean, he's committed a fair amount to this. We see that the Terran player almost has the same worker count right now. Nice corrosive biles there, though. Does take out the reactor.
But Picker isn't really making anything at home here. Now that I say that, he makes 9 drones.
That's the way it always goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like how Picker's utilizing this.
That was really cool. He canceled that at the very last second right before this corrosive biles hit. So he's saving as much money as he can while still keeping up this wall. But this Overlord is being extremely annoying, giving that high ground vision there.
Yeah, nice pickoffs here with these corrosive biles while losing not really anything. I don't know if he lost that Roach or if he converted it into a Ravager, but like,
yeah, he made it into a Ravager.
Okay, yeah, just yeah, Picker's getting his 3rd and 4th gases, getting his 3rd base up now, and
that pressure did a lot.
He's only just landing. Sorry, go ahead.
That pressure did a lot more than I was expecting it to, because he didn't commit to it as much as I thought he was going to. So it was really cool. It did a lot more than I would have expected it.
Yeah, Picker just seemed to just keep doing damage with that pile mostly. Just killing the workers repairing, canceling the one building, and then even picking off a fully built one. It's really nice plays. And now we see Picker with a 14 worker supply lead and 16 army supply lead. And so it's going to be on Malchahid again to get some damage done and get himself back in this game. Road speed coming out for Picker here. Engineering Bay and a 3rd CC coming down for Malchahid here. No stim or combat shields or anything tricky like that. Well, tricky. Drop coming out now. Does get immediately spotted by an Overseer, so not sure how much this is going to do. Assuming Picker actually saw it.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he's seen it by now, but it is a long way for those forces to come back. He was trying to tear down that wall in the middle, it looks like, or at least watch it.
Yeah, so now Malchahid is denying mining at this main, which is pretty nice.
He picks off 2 of the drones, and he's going to load back up there and get out of there.
Yeah, so that was pretty good for for our Terran player here.
Oh man, you can start picking off overlords again. They're over this middle island here.
I think after this game, Picker's going to have to take a educational class about overlord safety.
Oh, and there's a Viking taking out this other overlord. Yeah, this is... If I was an overlord, I wouldn't want to be Picker's overlords.
Yeah. It feels like Picker's putting these overlords out like he's playing against the Zerg.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. It's really nice map awareness that he has, but he's losing a lot of them.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, if it's, like, really late game and you have just hundreds of overlords chilling around, I mean, why not? But this early, it's just too much damage to take.
It'd be way more cost effective to just sprinkle a couple of Zerglings around instead of trying to keep overlords everywhere. Like, put overlords over dead airspace to scout, drops or things like that, but putting them over top of paths where Marines can shoot them is dangerous.
Yeah, and so now we do see Magikid with a drop on the far right side now, which did get spotted by a morphing Overseer. So I don't think this one will do too much damage, but if Picker overreacts, which doesn't look like he is, he does have Ravagers in place to defend both drop positions.
As good as Magikid's early game is, I feel like his mid game is just where he just goes crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Got a drop on the left-hand side there. Looks like it will get taken out pretty quickly. Didn't do a lot of damage with that. And the medevac gets taken out.
Really nice pick off there for Picker. Well, we just see his Picker's supply lead growing, but like you said, in mid-game, Magikid just seems to toggle it on. I don't know. He just goes crazy, so we'll see.
Drop on the right-hand side was repelled as well, but now there's a big drop coming up in the main here with a siege tank. And the Marines doing a lot of damage, this drop being a lot more effective. And Picker's forces finally arrive up here in the main, and they're going to fend that off. It looks like Magikid wasn't really paying attention to those forces, because he is also dropping the third again. And Pico are actually doing a pretty good job of holding that off.
Yeah, that was a really decent defense there. Took out a tank, took out medevac, a bunch of Marines, as well as holding off the drop in the third. So overall, Magikid is coming up short.
I mean, if you look at resources lost, Magikid is definitely behind in that aspect.
Yeah, almost double, or almost 1,000 more rather, from loss for him.
Yeah, but siege tanks can be pretty good, so we'll have to see how this engagement goes. The Roaches pushing in there strong. The siege tank's getting so many shots off in the back there, and he's going to pick them up and move them back a little ways, keeping them out of the way of the Corrosive Bile.
Ooh, wow.
And he pulls them all into the same Corrosive Bile, and they all fall, and now there's just a bunch of Roaches and Ravagers moving their way up into this natural here of Magikid.
GG. That was a very interesting
surrender
game.
micros on point.
Yeah.
That was so quick. It was like GG and leaving the game at the exact same time.
Yeah, they're just fast. Yeah, that was a really clean game for Picker. Just not really losing too much, not letting those drops do damage. And Magikid just seemed to just not be able to find an opening.
Yeah, that was just incredible defense there. And Nkazi seems to be looking forward to his match with Pico. He says it's going to be the easiest game of his life.
Yeah, they've been having some trash talk since Nkazi said he wouldn't lose to anyone like Nexlux or Picker ever again.
Yeah, I think there's the tournament I casted. He said he'd never drop a game versus Pico ever again. So
yeah,
we'll see.
This week of No Name Weekly is very interesting because all these Masters, well, most of these Masters players are competing for their teams in the CTL this week as well.
Yeah, it's true.
So we get kind of a nice preview.
And they get to see their opponents' builds too. So Nkazi, I know, has been watching most of this, so he's on same team I am, so I'm sure he's writing down all these builds. And
yeah, Nkazi's just had to wait on Monk versus Raz for forever, which Monk did take that series 2-1, which leaves Magikid, Picker, and Monk and Nkazi left in the quarterfinals. And spawning in the bottom right position in the blue, representing Team Unrivaled, it is Picker.
And spawning up here on the top left-hand side in the lighter blue, it's going to be the Terran player, Maujahid. Yeah, back to the CTL. I really think this upcoming week is going to be Guns N' Roaches week to finally get a win on the board. So
yeah, you know,
looking forward to it.
I mean, you'll get one eventually. Probably not this week, but one day pretty soon here.
Before the season is out, I'm pretty sure we're going to have at least one.
Yeah, I'm sure probably Lit will give you one. Or have you guys played Lit?
We played Lit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Have you guys played Outset yet?
I don't believe so.
Okay, well there. That's one.
All right.
That's one. Born Gosu, probably one. You can pick up a few. Not against Team UR though. Those guys are pretty good, I've heard.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, I've heard they're pretty alright.
I don't know. We'll have to see. The only reason I'm hoping Ninkazi, will just rally the team and bring it home for us. But
yeah, I feel like that Masters match is going to be like the tip of the morale for either team.
Exactly.
Just,
rally
especially
caps
with
on.
how much trash talk's going into it. Yeah, just how many Masters players do y'all have? Because the only one I know of is Ninkazi.
I think it's Ninkazi. No, I think we have a couple more. But we have a lot of diamonds, though. We got, I don't know, we're all going to be Masters next season, probably.
Yeah.
Except for me. I'm trying not to get promoted just so I can play in CTL.
Yeah.
It's not true at all, but that's what I say to make myself feel better.
Oh, yeah, no, that's my reason for never hitting Diamond. I just want to be useful to my team,
Yeah, you got to fill that slot, exactly.
Exactly. Like, if I'm not there, who would play? Some random recruit.
Yeah, who's then going to get promoted too. Like, somebody's got to bite the bullet.
Yeah. Sandbag for the good of the team. That's what they tell me.
But Pico here still hasn't scouted his opponent, and I don't think he even knows which location he's spawning in yet, because his Overlord hasn't made it to the bottom left yet, but Mauji does get to see that there are a couple of Zerglings out, and that the Zergling speed is on the way.
Yeah, and just earlier reactor than normal for Maujahid here, because obviously Reapers are terrible on this map, because they can only get up the one way. Like
yeah, and it's such a big map by the time they get over there.
Yeah.
You're in the next stage of the game anyway.
Starport and Tech Lab coming down. Tech Lab coming down on the factory and Starport coming out from Maujahid. Baneling Nest coming out from Picker here, as well as Speed finishing up pretty soon.
Yeah, I think this is one of the most awkward maps to wall off on, and I'm always interested to see how players do it. So you see kind of like how Mauji just kind of has this bunker floating out here that I assume will eventually be part of like a soft wall if he needs it. But
yeah, I've seen a lot of players like put like a pylon or something right about there and then just connecting it side to side to his CC and then up along the other side. I guess he's going for some sort of bust.
Yeah, this is a lot of units streaming across the map there. We got a bunch of Zerglings, Banelings coming in.
It could be catching Maujahid off guard here. Maujahid doesn't really have too much other than this bunker. And the tank
nice.
is not
Completes that wall
at
the last second.
Baneling's doing some nice hits, but suddenly there's not much left.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised he went for that bunker instead of just running through and trying to surround the tank.
Yeah, I think it definitely would have been a more cost-effective use there. Meanwhile,
but I mean, he does have these Zerglings coming up here. The bunker's definitely not going to be done by that point, so it's still up to Maujahid to hold this. There he goes, pulling some SCVs to repair that tank, because that's really, that's his hope right there, is that tank.
Yeah, and Banshee with Cloak. Banshee coming out soon. Cloak on the way. Hellions are in production.
Ooh, yeah, the Hellions.
This is game 3, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And these poor Banelings having to waddle home and try to avoid these Hellions. Oh, nice juking there. Those Banelings will live for now. And another Overlord gonna fall for Pico here.
Some nice pickup here for Picker, grabbing these Hellions in the middle of the map. But now the Banshee has arrived.
Banshee going straight for those Banelings. Nice choice there.
Yeah, nice target fire. And Picker doesn't really have an answer to this. He's getting roaches, but this Banshee, other than the Spore Callers, is going to be pretty much uncontested against this army. Eventually, the Ravagers might be able to get a shot or two, but with control like Mal'Jaheed has, we probably I doubt we'll see any catastrophic hits from that Bile to take out those Banshees.
Yeah, and we've only got 2 Queens out right now. 1 Spore per base. It's going to be tough to not take a lot of damage from this Banshee.
And
especially with the Hellions rolling in as well.
Yeah, and a second Banshee in production here. As well as mech weapons.
Uh-oh.
Hellbats.
That poor drone was in the wrong part of town.
Yeah. And where's Picker's army right now?
He's trying to pull it down here at the bottom of his base. His only hope is to get a miraculous surround here, but I just don't even think he has enough.
Yeah, he's trying
nice connections with the Banelings there.
Yeah, he manages to save his Overlord.
His Queen's fallen. This Banshee just gets to do whatever it wants. So the Hellbats are gone, but...
Yeah, he has enough links to clean up the ground force, but these Banshees are just uncontested. And if Mal'Jaheed sees it, he could be able to take out. He would be able to take out the Spore Caller that's building in the middle here.
Oh, there we go. This Queen in the main could come down and finish off this Banshee, but
choosing just to keep it there for the index.
I mean, I feel like even if for some reason these 3 Banshees just died, ran into a Spore Crawler, I still think Mal'Jaheed would be in an excellent position.
Yeah, just so much damage being done here. He's going to lose. Picker's going to lose the 3rd hatchery. He has roaches being made and a Spire on the way. But I don't think it's going to be enough with the amount of damage that Mal'Jaheed has done here. 3 Hellbat, 3 Banshee push coming in. And the Banshees are firing away on the Roach Warren, which I think is a very good choice here. He's going to take it out, and then no more roaches for Picker.
And he might as well just shoot at whatever's closest at this point.
Yeah, taking out this Queen in the mains. Fire's still not done. Picker is rebuilding that Roach Warren very quickly. Good job by him. And at this point, Thors are coming out for Mal'Jaheed, so he'll be ready for any Mutalisk or whatever Picker decides to make here. And Picker can't mine out of his main. Picker is on one base economy right now. He has 6 roaches, 7 Mutalisks on the way. And
yeah, I mean, Mutas are going to be great at cleaning up these Banshees, but then what?
Yeah. And Mal'Jaheed's already targeting down this Spire here. Will lose 1 Banshee? Yeah. But does take out the Queen.
At this point, though, the Banshees are forfeit anyway. You might as well just dive them onto something.
Exactly. They're trading so well here.
And we're looking at almost half the workers now for Pico. He's down a base versus a meching Terran. Like, that's not a good feeling at all. We've got Liberators out on the field now. Thors.
Yeah, just definitely a position you do not want to be in as a Zerg player here.
Especially not against Mal'Jaheed. We've seen him do some crazy stuff from behind, and when he's this far ahead, I can't imagine finding an opening that's going to bring you back from this kind of a position.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And we see Picker just missing Overlord timings here. So he might be a little flustered after taking that much damage from that early game. Still no Overlords in production, finally getting them.
Yeah, I feel like maybe he didn't have any warm-up games before this, because these are the kind of, we've seen a couple of times where he's missed Overlords, and that's just not something that you usually do in Masters League when you're playing at the top of your game.
Yeah, I think that Picker definitely has an issue with getting flustered in competitive matches.
I almost feel like...
Wow, those things.
That's painful.
That's brutal.
I almost feel like Pico just kind of he expected the game to end after that first push and had no idea what to do when it failed.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh wait, I'm still alive."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, this is still
Um,
going. Okay."
Yeah, I guess they'll make roaches like that. Those are good, right? Like, and at this point, getting Spore College for that third base, but this
Yeah.
force from Malzahid, I don't see it dying to what Picker has here. He has 2 Mutalisk, 3 Roach, and 6 Ravager, which can be threatening, but against an army of this size, I just don't see it.
Almost did some really nice corrosive battles there, but
Yeah.
I mean, if there's so many Thors that I think they could just end the game by themselves too.
Yeah, and especially with these mech weapon and plating upgrades.
Yeah, I mean, it's a valiant last stand that he's making, but it is his last stand.
Yeah.
And there go the
Liberation
liberation
Zone going down.
zones. And that's going to lock Peeker back up in his natural again.
Nice
He's trying
files.
desperately to save this base. Yeah, I mean, he's getting some nice hits, but
Just too little, too late.
yeah,
This
it's just,
point.
this is such an uphill battle.
And now we see the style of Terran that I think everyone hates playing against. It's just
Oh,
they're
yeah, I
sieged
mean-
outside your base and nothing you can do.
You have to be so far ahead to break this kind of contain. And
Yeah. Because this contain is really difficult to break even if you're even, but being this
Right.
drastically far behind, it's just... And with him taking out all your overlords with liberators, it's just brutal.
Yeah, I mean, we're just kind of waiting for Peeker to digest this, I think.
Yeah. I think at this point he's gonna kind of prepare himself mentally for his next series. And
Yeah, I think we're just gonna see like one Hail Mary here and then GG.
yeah. Absolutely.
Corrosive
Meanwhile,
battling himself.
yeah, on the other side of the bracket, Ninkazi did beat Monk 2-0. And
And there we
GG
go.
from Picker. So our next matchup will be Malzahid versus Ninkazi. With, I believe it will be Picker versus Monk in the losers bracket. Yeah, just Picker seemed really flustered that game, and just that entire series, like we were saying, just missing Overlord timings, and yeah, I don't know what happened.
It was definitely not his best game. Like I'm not sure what he's doing during those times too, because it's like it seems like he's missing overlords when there's not much else for him to be doing. You know, like he's not harassing on the map, and I mean he's got like 300 plus APM, so it's not like he's mechanically restrained. It's just like he's focusing on something else entirely.
Yeah, I think a definite key for him to improving is just to fill that downtime with and like making sure he has stuff in production, even if it's just like Zerglings that in the end aren't going to do anything. Just having something that can fight rather than having so much focus devoted to your army that you just have nothing going on at home. So then you lose that army and you go to, even if you come out ahead of that fight, then yeah, you come off that fight ahead, and then you just don't have anything at home to capitalize on that lead, and then suddenly you're even at best. And so next match for the winners bracket will be Malzahid versus Ninkazi, with Monk versus Picker going on in the losers bracket.
Ninkazi deferring the first veto.
Yeah, interesting choice there.
Is it? Well, because I mean, wouldn't it always be better to take second veto? Because I mean, your opponent's going to veto whatever map they want anyway, so you might as well see what they veto if you had the choice. So I think it's weird that you're able to do that, I think, but
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, wouldn't it always be better to have second veto so that if you guys are going to veto the same map, you get to veto your second least favorite map?
Yeah, I I guess Magic would have the option to be like, no, I'll defer first veto back to you, and then
I
you have a
double
kind of
defer it.
stalemate. Yeah,
Maybe it's just first person to say not it.
yeah. This nose goes just.
So we've got Dusk Towers, Ruins, and Central Protocol vetoed so far.
Yeah. So you're familiar with Ninkazi. He's on your team. And we've seen Magic play in this tournament. Then actually, before I finish that thought, apparently Picker is forfeiting his match because he's sick and needs to go to bed.
All right, that makes
and has
sense.
school tomorrow. So, GG's from Picker. Always hate to see that.
Yeah, that's I can understand that. That's
totally.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Bathroom break coming out here from Majahid. So what I was gonna say is, what's your prediction going into this match?
I think Ninkazi is super strong player. So I mean, I have to vote for him, even though I said I wasn't going to vote against Majahid anymore. But he just seems to be, he's really committed. He's very serious about StarCraft.
Yeah,
I would say he has some self-confidence issues.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know him at all, I'm being completely sarcastic.
Yeah, no. Quote, my CTL match against Picker is going to be the easiest match of my life.
Exactly,
yeah. We can definitely see some self-confidence going down there. I'm going to say Majahid takes this 2-1. And
really?
I think we're going to see them in the finals. I think Majahid's going to take this. Ninkazi's going to go beat Monk again because he's beaten him once. And then Ninkazi's going to come back and beat him in the grand finals.
So I'm going to agree with everything you said, except I think it's going to be flipped for this. I think it's going to be 2-1. Ninkazi's going to win this one, and then they're going to meet again in the finals.
All right. Split vote here. We'll see see which one of us is correct. Just waiting on one of them to get back from the restroom, whichever one it is. So yeah, just really interesting game so far. What's been your favorite series that we've seen so far?
I think the first one, just because of the Mass Reapers, I love that build, that whole style. It's so dependent on micro. I also really enjoyed that first series. I thought that they had really good matches and really good play from both players. And we are finally going into game one of this best of three, which will be on Prion Terraces. Majahid versus Ninkazi. Spawning in the top left position, representing Team Rival and Guns N' Roaches, it is Ninkazi. Look at Ninkazi's Korean habits too, with the DD.
Yeah. What does that stand for?
I don't know. I think it was something from Brood War. Somebody told me it was "Don't Die," but I'm pretty sure I remember it being like it was some abbreviation for something else. But "Don't Die" works. But anyway, spawning down here in the bottom right-hand side, plowing through every series we've seen him in. It's going to be Outset Gaming's Majahid.
Still love that name. Definitely a big fan. Looks like both players going for just about mirrored builds here. Ninkazi getting a little earlier gas, and their SVs do cross in the middle of the map. High-fiving.
And so that earlier gas, what do you think that's going to be for?
I'm not
I
sure.
mean, obviously he's going to be a little bit more tech heavy.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It could be interesting to see early reactor into something quickly.
Yeah.
I don't really play Terran, so I'm not sure what that could be. But I would like to see it, whatever it is.
Yeah. Man, that's going to allow him to get the factory faster, so he might be going straight up to like Cloak Banshees.
That
Is that
would
a
be very
thing
cool
still?
to see. Yeah, I think so. I hope so. I love seeing that.
I hope it is, because
Factory
I tried to do
going
it
on.
last night, and it didn't go so well, so I don't know if good players do it or not.
Yeah, after watching tournaments like IEM and stuff, I get inspired to go try stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, that looks really fun. I'm going to try that. So like, I'll do some adept drops or something like that, and I'll be like, wow, I'm really not good at that.
Yeah.
It's
I wanted to try
Cannon Rush.
I wanted to try Tankovax yesterday, and I don't play Terran as my main, so
Yeah.
it was very, very, very bad.
I totally thought that Tankovacs were like the easiest thing to micro in the world because I also don't play Terran. So I was like, oh, this will be easy because like I accidentally picked Terran for a ranked game, and I was like, this will be easy. I'll just go Marine tank, and I'm gonna win the game. And I couldn't pick up and drop the tanks fast enough. And I was like,
Yeah.
what is happening? I'm just losing.
I actually did that too. I accidentally queued, and I realized I was Terran, and
Yeah.
so I was like, yeah, I'll just go like Widow Mines because they're pretty good, and I lost like some kind of super early aggression. I had nothing in my base.
Looks like Ninkazi is gonna go back to Banshee. Looks like or Raven. Okay.
These Marines waiting here for this Reaper to jump up here,
Nice
and
pick
gets
off.
taken out immediately.
I don't think he even saw. Yeah, he didn't see any of the tech. He knows that there's a factory, but doesn't know if there's a starport. I imagine he'll assume there's a starport, but he doesn't know what's being made out of it or anything like that.
I mean, after seeing a Hellion, I mean, I don't. It could be. You know, he could have more than one Hellion. There's Hellion pressure you can do, Hellion drops.
Yeah.
We actually see a Raven coming out here, as well as a Cloak for the Banshees. So he's preparing for Cloak Banshees to come into his base. He's got Cloak Banshees going to be heading out.
Yeah, and actually, okay. Ninkazi just lifted off his starport while still researching Cloak.
Oh.
Not sure if that's intentional or not.
Maybe when he drove up, you know, he drove his Hellion up there, and whatever he scouted told him that Banshees weren't a good idea.
Yeah, I guess so.
'Cause, I mean, like, he's just switching now into tank medevac marine. Maybe he saw that I bet he saw that his opponent's command center was super early, so he's just gonna try to end the game instead of trying to harass his way to catch back up. So he's just gonna try to do a big push, and
Yeah, it's definitely.
you know,
worth
he
this
knows that he
looking
has a better army supply for a little bit anyway. But Maojied actually moving out.
Yeah, if Ninkazi can catch this, then he will be in a very good spot, even for being down a base right now.
I mean, I'm really surprised because Maojied, when you're taking a gold base and your opponent's not, you can kind of feel comfortable knowing that you're ahead economically and you just have to defend the win. So it's strange to me that he's going to try to put on pressure here.
Yeah, I'll have to see how it works out for him. Tank getting
There
some
we do
nice
see-
shots.
Tank on the low ground there, and nice pickup. This is going to save that for a little bit, and the tank's still going to be able to go to town on these supply depots in the front here. And there we go, Ninkazi with Tankovacs of his own. Ooh, and that tank gets taken out, and that means that this push is coming to an end. He's going to load those up and get out of there.
Yeah, meanwhile, Ninkazi has this Raven in position to do something, but it's not doing anything with him just yet.
Ninkazi getting ready to take this natural of his own, but he is playing from behind here, so he's going to move out, try to do a drop of his own, and I mean, he does need to make something happen here
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
catch back up.
Reactor coming down on the starport for Maljahid. Plus
He's
one
actually
weapons.
supply blocked right now also, so supply
Oh, wow,
depot is about
yeah.
to finish, but that's rough to be supply blocked in a spot like that.
And with this drop going out as Ninkazi is arriving, we'll have to see if he reacts soon enough and turns back. So far, nothing. And it looks
Oh,
like
it's gonna be so hard.
he might think he has enough here.
Oh, and blocking off the ramp with those auto turrets.
Magic is committing with these two medevacs to go and drop. Ninkazi has some units in position. If he can catch this before they land, he can do huge damage to this drop and possibly just end the game. Magic drop is arriving, tanks are dropped, and they are immediately sieging, but one is already in range. Taking big damage here, almost dropping, does get picked up. Nice pickup from Majahid. The other tank is now in peril. Both of them getting moved back very nicely. SCV's getting pulled. They are closing onto the tank. Nice micro kill from Majahid.
And the SCV's fighting the Marines. So many SCVs getting taken out. But the push does eventually get cleaned up. And meanwhile, his push in Majahid's base has been uncontested. He's doing so much damage. And just like that, Ninkazi in a commanding lead.
GG. Ninkazi takes game one in convincing fashion. That was very strong showing from him.
And that was just, he read that perfectly. You know, he went up there, canceled that cloak and the you know, just completely switched tech paths. Yeah. And completely adapted his build perfectly. Great time drop, great defense. Really, really well done.
I think Majiki would have definitely been in a better position if he had pulled those two medevacs back and tried to use those units to maybe contest Ninkazi getting that set up on the top of his ramp. But because we've seen that before in the past 2 weeks of this tournament, players in TVT will send out a drop as the other player is arriving, and then they'll just commit. They'll just go on, and most of the time they've lost because they just simply don't have enough.
I just think that there was no reason for him to even try to push out there and like contain Ninkazi into his main base with that one siege tank, because there's, you know, he was way ahead, having his command center was finished by the time Ninkazi started his. So he was in such a good position there, and he just kind of threw, once he lost that tank, then it was just a snowball effect from there.
Waiting on our players to ready up here. Map 2 will be Orbital Shipyard. And if Ninkazi plays like he did, I think he's in a very favorable position to win this match. Yeah,
that was a really convincing game there.
Yeah, just every time I bet against someone, they always start turning it on. I don't know. It's like
the Artosis curse.
Yeah. Ninkazi finally ready. And here we go. These players being very nice to us and picking opposite colors of each other.
Yeah, that's nice.
But yeah, I think Majiki is just gonna. He definitely needs better decision making. His mechanics were on point, but I think it just comes down to Ninkazi having better game sense and reaction to what he sees.
Yeah, he adapted so well to that. Oh, SCV is leaving.
Okay, so very quickly, top right, spawning in the light blue, representing rival. It is Ninkazi.
And down here in the bottom left, probably gonna have to hold off some proxy barracks. It's gonna be the Red Terran player Majahid.
And so we do see Ninkazi moving out with these proxy SCVs. Nothing else they could be. And looks like Ninkazi's doing a very good job of getting these down. Now she's not even checking for it.
I wonder what the purpose of that hidden supply depot is too.
I'm not sure, actually. Oh, what is this? Majahid going up to the fourth base position of Ninkazi.
Oh, that's what the supply depot's here for, because that corner is where they try to proxy Widowmine drops. And so the supply depot can spot that.
Oh, okay.
Is that?
Yeah, I'll buy it, sure. I don't know.
Because I see people do that stupid Widowmine drop in that corner all the time.
Huh.
And
Majahid looks like he's wanting to do a proxy of his own over here.
Yeah,
and
but I think
meanwhile,
Ninkazi's Ninkazi's
coming down
proxy
to
wins a
Ninkazi,
base
baby.
race, though.
Yeah, that Proxy Factory coming down from Al-Jahid. Interesting game to say the least here. Marine production is starting for Ninkazi, and meanwhile there's no army from Al-Jahid even being made. Reactor being made on his only barracks.
It is so
which
unfortunate
does
for
complete the
Maljahid,
wall.
too. Because, like, Maljahid didn't scout at all, so he has no idea this Proxy's coming. And Proxy Widowmine drop is pretty good at killing workers, but it's not very good at killing buildings. So I think Ninkazi might just have a build order win here.
Yeah, I think almost definitely, unless Maljahid can pull something miraculous out, or get a ridiculous amount of damage done while taking very little with his proxy, then it's gonna be game.
Yeah,
Marines
I think
are
this is...
arriving for Ninkazi and already firing at the supply depot or the reactor.
Ooh. I was going to say, I think Maljahid's panicking a little bit if he sends his Marines to fight, because they're obviously going to lose that fight.
Yeah, bunker coming down for Ninkazi here. And Maljahid is supply blocked already, not able to produce anything out of that proxy factory if he wanted to. And he is going to lose the barracks. He is having to pull all his SCVs to fight here. Nice setter stepping from Ninkazi. Does manage to stop building on this bunker, but I don't think it's enough.
Yeah, that doesn't even matter. There's actually going to be proxy Banshee, I guess, from Maljahid.
Yeah, that is what it looks like. And yeah, what a weird game. Both players going for proxy.
And he's going to go ahead and try to get the Banshee with Cloak out and a Hellion. And I don't know. I mean, I guess if he kills all of Ninkazi's workers, then they both just kind of reset. And
I think it will. I think at this point, all Ninkazi has to do is keep. He has workers alive over here at the other base. So eventually, Ninkazi will win. Because if Maljahid would have to kill every single worker, and then not let Ninkazi be able to gather any resources.
yeah. Oh, and he's got 396 minerals too, which is, like...
Yeah, and I like what Ninkazi does here. He loads up SCVs inside his thing. So really, there's no way Maljahid wins this. He doesn't have enough money to make a Viking. He can make a singular SCV, but there's no way this CC lands. Already getting shot at again, and it is on fire.
Now it's on fire, and it's doomed.
Yeah, eventually it will die. Yeah.
What a frustrating loss, too, to get knocked out to this build.
Yeah, and especially whenever you know you're good enough to, at the very least, take a game, if not the entire series.
Yeah, that's
really disappointing. CC losing health slowly here.
I don't know whether this is when Cheese fails or Cheese succeeds. Banshee at least having a good time.
Yeah, he has some 20 kills now.
So
this CC desperately trying to land and save itself.
It should just land where, like, as close as it could, instead
actually,
of going all the way to that middle patch.
If it lands, calls in mules, and repairs. Yeah, GG.
Oh, okay. It's a good idea, though.
Wins 2-0. Yeah. Cute little thought. Yeah, just really interesting series there, and very interesting last game. Cheese on cheese.
Yeah, and
in the end, Proxy 4X beats. Yeah, Proxy 4X beats Proxy Reaper. I mean, Proxy Banshee. You heard it here first. Looks like Monk is in some sort of custom. So we will be taking a short break, guys. We will be back in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.
Skies, treacherous. She's falling too far with salt in her scars. Won't let it taste her tears. She's falling too I was wrong. It creeps on back through color glass, through color glass. I'll paint out the sun again to say I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change a thing. Come with me.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Chobo No Name Weekly. Not Chobo at all. I'm Koltaran, back again with Amnesia. And we're loading into Game 1 of Maujahid versus Monk on Dusk Towers. The second map will be Orbital, and the third map will be Laralac. And we're going to get right into it. Spawning in the top right position, representing Team Unrivaled in the light blue, it is Monk.
And down here in the bottom left-hand side, the Red Terran player suddenly getting knocked into the loser's bracket. It is Maujahid.
It'll be interesting to see if on this map they decide to go into a later stage of game than we saw in that previous series, or if one of them will go fairly aggressive and we'll see the other player capitalize. I do know that Monk doesn't typically go very aggressive, So it will be interesting to see. Interesting to see if this game goes into late game, how Majahid plays, and how if Monk outplays him or not.
Will be interesting to see. Over the break, Ninkazi yelled at me for saying that he was behind. He told me to never say that he's behind in TBT.
Yeah, I saw him in that. He's done some crazy things in TBT. Never doubt the power of Ninkazi.
Yeah. Unless you want yelled at.
Yeah, unless you want to get yelled at. That's why I'm just glad I only share one Discord server with him. Can't yell at me. And it looks like both players going for pretty similar builds. Majahid is getting a Marine instead of that Reaper, though. And also has 2 gases. I completely missed that. So Majahid does have 2 gas income right now, while Monk does go for that early expansion. Factory already coming down from Majahid, and a bunker coming down from Monk.
Proxy factory.
Oh, yeah, it's proxied. Ooh.
So this might be that proxy Banshee again, and hoping that it's going to go a little bit better this game.
This Reaper is routed in a way that he will see it eventually.
That's weird. I like when I see players do that, especially on this map. Like, the Reaper is really good at scouting on this map because there's a lot of cliffs. So I see a lot of Terran players do that with the Reaper on this map, and I think it's a really good choice, especially when it comes to games like this, where you're definitely going to want to see that starport.
Yeah, and like even if it doesn't pay off, like your Reaper probably wouldn't get too much done anyway.
Right, there's not a big entrance for the Reaper to jump up on this map, so
yeah. And then immediately
yeah, so that's going to be. I mean, I'd imagine he's going to cancel this tech lab.
Surely.
Or not, and just go for a siege tank.
Okay. Ballsy.
Proxy siege tank is going to be a new strategy that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah. This Reaper just decided to leave it be. He's going to run off. A Marine's coming across the map for Majahid here, about 5. And the siege tank will be popping out soon. It'll be interesting to see if he can get any damage done. Monk is finishing up that bunker, has a reactor coming on his own, Barrack, starport on the way, and a cyclone coming out. So honestly, I think that Monk is in a very good position to hold this. Majahid does send over another SCV to, looks like, just repair that tech lab.
And Monk's Reaper finally making his way up into the main of Majahid, so he's going to get a little bit of damage done with this, but he's got quite a push to hold off at the front.
Yeah, the Marines are dueling at the bunker here. And is Majahid backing off?
Well, there's actually, he doesn't have anything to spot the high ground, so...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and the SCVs do finally manage to pick off that Reaper. Oh, nice.
Good damage there. We'll get repaired back, but good nonetheless.
It's still, that's, nice Viking coming out here to make sure that, try to stop any medevacs or banshees that might come over as well. You see, he flew that straight over to the factory to see if there's like another proxy starport coming down, or at least to see if the factory's still there.
Yeah. And in TBT, I know that it's very important to have that air control, because if you can't use tank evac, you're suddenly much less mobile than your opponent. And
yeah.
Oh wow, it does lose Viking. And it looks like he will lose the bunker unless, yeah, does lose the bunker.
Yeah, there goes the bunker. Oh, I thought he was going to fly that siege tank into the natural. I was going to be...
Yeah.
Oh, and it's actually in range of the Marines. It gets picked off really, really quickly. And...
Yeah, nice tank shots from Monk as well. Did get shots on the one remaining siege tank here with the tank of his own.
And I feel like this contain feels a little bit wonky, and I think it's just because this wasn't originally Majahid's plan. You know, he kind of improvised this.
Yeah.
Once his starport got canceled. Now he's going to go for a drop into that natural there.
Nothing in position, but I think Monk has enough to where he can just kind of A-move up onto this.
The big problem though is that he doesn't have any medevacs
Oh
out, so
wow,
his
that
siege
was
tanks have to
such a huge
unsiege.
hit.
He's actually going to pull the SCVs to fight the siege tanks. 29 workers falling already.
Wow. And meanwhile,
And it doesn't even...
Monk's army isn't even focused to the tank. Finally does go down. Cleaned it
Yeah,
up,
I
but
mean,
now Monk's behind. He's
Monk
behind
lost
in
so
supply count.
much. He lost so much army in that fight, as well as 29 workers.
He's even behind in workers now.
Yeah.
27-23 is ahead in army supply, and eventually Monk will catch up, if not be a little ahead, because he has this CC up that's producing SCVs. 2 CCs producing SCVs.
That's true. And he did have a better worker count for a lot of the game, too, so...
Another drop coming in here for Mao Jahid. We'll be hitting in the main, and there's not really much anything here
No.
just yet. There is stuff close by, but as we saw just then, nearby and there can be the difference between having 29 probes or losing 29 probes. Does get cleaned up, loses 2 Marines and escapes. There is a Viking in place here on the other side of this little island where Mao Jahid's hiding, where he could pick off his medevac.
Upgrade complete.
Doesn't look like he'll be able to, though, with these Marines in position.
It looks like both players are going to kind of stabilize here for a little bit.
Yeah.
And Monk going to go and clean up this tech lab. And I still really like the position that Mao Jahid is in, but he loses that medevac full of Marines.
Wow. Yeah. Big loss there. Another drop coming down here. No units at the natural if that's where he decides to go to. Except for this siege tank, which can be dropped on. So maybe he'll be able to get a little bit of damage done. Remains to be seen. Drop boost in here. Marines are going down, immediately getting shot at by the siege tank, and it looks like Dutchkin will immediately back off.
He did get an SCV, so that's nice. And then Monk pulled a ton of SCVs to finish that supply depot, so...
About sending a message.
And those SCVs still aren't working either. He's pulled a lot of SCVs, and they're just sitting there.
Yeah, that is a lot. He just selected one of them. This is 12 workers right now.
Yeah, that's
There
a
he
lot of
goes,
indirect
finally.
damage there.
Yeah,
There we go.
finally
Back
caught
to
him.
work. They go back to work just in
Yeah.
time for this medevac to come back in.
Triple
And there it
drop on the
goes.
top side of the map for Monk as well, but it is going to maybe cross over this army.
It's a strange drop pathing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Now she does drop on top of this tank here at the natural. Monk sending over some Marines, but still loses that tank.
Oh, nice pickup there from Mao Jahid, only losing 1 Marine in that. And Monk going for a big drop here, but that doesn't leave a lot to defend against this big push coming out.
Research.
Yeah, that's a lot of army devoted to offense while your base is under attack.
With 2 tanks sieging up here in Mao Jahid's main, it looks like this might turn into another base race.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, yeah, there's not. I don't.
Mao Jahid finds himself in this
Yeah,
position
the
a
engagement
lot.
goes. In terms of upgrades, Mao Jahid does have +1 attack already, while it is still about to finish here for Monk.
Yeah, this is really reminiscent of that Ninkazi game, though.
Yeah. Monk needs to be applying pressure with this drop that he has in Mao Jahid's base. Right now, it's just sitting there in the corner.
And even still, though, that's a lot of... Mao Jahid is going to relocate to his 3rd for now.
Yeah,
Oh,
losing
man.
20 workers here for Monk.
Oh, 22 more
Medevacs are
workers
going
fallen.
down.
Mao Jahid's
Yeah,
killed
just
55
didn't
workers this game.
That's ridiculous. It's SCVs fighting Marines.
It's more workers than a lot of players make in a whole game.
Yeah. And Mao Jahid backs off. That was really successful for him. And he
Yeah.
does have a singular Marine over in the natural of Monk doing some damage.
You know, Monk looked like he was going to hold that off with relatively few losses, and then pulled all those SCVs, and it was painful.
Yeah, that's huge damage.
One Marine dropping in the natural, terrorizing everybody. That one Marine has had 12 kills, 13 kills now, all by himself.
What a hero.
And Monk's drop finally cleaned up as well.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. I have to make a movie about that Marine.
Yeah, he needs like Medal of Honor. Man. Monk's now empty medevacs returning home. Pretty much defeated. I mean, they did do a significant amount of damage, but when you compare that to the amount of damage he just took, it's minuscule. Magikid does have a third CC on the way. And Monk at this point is just having to rebuild what he had. Magikid sieging up in the middle of the map, picking up all his making all his tank evacs, and he's going to push, and I'm not sure that Monk is going to be able to hold it.
Is this going to be a doom drop?
Oh, baby.
I think he could probably take that army anywhere.
Yeah.
And win at this point, but Monk actually going to leave his base, put himself in an even worse position. And here they come.
Tanks going in. They drop in behind the mineral line. Already getting shots off.
Monk tries to get up there, but he has one tank versus 4. Make that 2 tanks now.
I've seen some pretty crazy games, but I don't think any have been as crazy as it would be for Monk to make a comeback here.
Yeah, I mean, he was getting decent shots off with his tanks, but
GG.
There's the GG.
Magikid takes game 1.
Yeah.
And now Monk faces elimination here.
So Zealous pointed out that there's a lot of Terrans in this tournament. Were there any Protoss at all?
No. No, I don't think so. I think the one Protoss that has competed lost in the first round like 5 or 6 times. Or not 5 or 6 times, but every time. So he doesn't play anymore. Well,
Exiled.
or doesn't this week.
Exiled was Protoss.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Apparently Monk's having an issue where his mouse will double click half the time. But it looks like we're going to get that fixed.
Yeah, I have the problem. I move with a middle mouse button. Like, that's how I move my screen a lot of the time.
Oh, yeah?
And there's a bug with the engine that Blizzard uses for this and Heroes of the Storm, where if you have like a high polling rate, sometimes your screen will just like jump across the map when you're using middle mouse button.
Huh.
So I feel this pain. That's annoying.
I'm lucky to have never had a misfortunate experience in that. Spawning in the top right in the light blue, representing Team Unrivaled, it is Monk.
And down here in the bottom left-hand side, the red Terran player outsets Magikid. Outset Gaming's logo is pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it. Has like nice little accents.
Yeah, it
I
looks
just like
like
having our little logos by our net bases in general. It's just cool.
that is a really cool thing.
TV Ham taking credit for other people's work, as usual.
So Elf did the outline.
TV Ham helped out with the outline of that. Good guy, TV Ham, making the CTL a better place by giving McDonald's away to Matches players. Little scout here coming out from both players at about the same time. Both players going for pretty much similar builds. Magikid is getting that second gas that we know he's oh so fond of. And we'll have to see where he goes with it from here. We've seen a few interesting things from him, like Proxy Factory into Proxy Banshee. We've seen him do heavy Reaper play. We'll just have to see which poison he'll choose today. Factory coming down and Reactor on his barracks. Meanwhile, Monk is expanding.
I think Reaper is kind of a... What do you think about Reaper on this map?
I'm not actually sure. So it can get up anywhere along the main, right?
Right.
Like from the third to the main. I guess it'd be okay.
So I mean, it's easy for it to get in, but then I feel like getting out is trouble because it's like once you get in that mineral line, you have a lot of distance to cover before you're safe again. And especially if you go on if you try to check out if the natural's down, you're pretty much sacrificing the Reaper at that point.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. Okay, Monk does lose that Reaper immediately. Does scout what he needed to see, but definitely could have preserved its life there. Starport coming down with a tech lab, with a siege tank on the way for Maljahid. Meanwhile, Factory only just now finishing up for Monk. Who does have an expansion up, and is throwing down tech lab on his Factory and is adding on a Starport. Meanwhile, Maljahid is sticking with this one base, not even an expansion on the way. So we may see him go fairly aggressive here, either with harass or maybe just all-inning.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, because he has that medevac, so he can load up the tank, and like the thing that we saw Nenkazi do, where he put the tank out of siege mode and then loaded it up with Marines.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, very strong drop.
Scan going down right after the army left, so I don't know if he'll read enough into that because he hasn't seen. I don't think he knows if there's a natural or not. So, I mean, like what he saw would be very standard if he went for an expansion first.
I like sending out this Marine here, so he does now know that there is this pressure coming.
He's got a little bit of a heads up, but it's gonna be tough.
Ooh, Cyclone already getting hit by that tank.
And needs to get some SCVs over there before he tries to send that back in. Cyclones are such a hard unit to control.
Yeah, and these supply depots are going down, and Monk is supply blocked. Cyclone getting taken very low. It looks like it will get repaired eventually. Tank moving up here. Viking going down, so this medevac is pretty much uncontested.
And Monk, I feel like, just not scouting that properly, and he's paying for it now. Finally gets a tank out of his own, but it's not sieging up. He's just going to try to pick off these Marines. And he's just going to try to move his units in close, but that medevac will pick up the tanks, and he's just going to keep repositioning them.
Micro here. Oh,
one of the tanks gets taken out.
Wow, loses both tanks.
Wow. He actually kind of just threw those away.
Yeah, he did good, and then just lost them both. I think that he would have been better off just not going for the more aggressive thing and just backing off with those two tanks still alive and just reinforcing.
Yeah, that's.
And we do now see like the push is stopped.
And is his command center and his Mojahid's command center is natural? Is that off a little bit? Is it up too high?
It
looks awfully far up to me.
I believe it is off a little bit. Yeah, that's definitely off a little bit. Right?
Yeah, I mean, like, looking at the mini-map, it's definitely off.
Yeah, okay. Alright, so now we do see, both players just adding on production facilities, getting their army up. We see one more barracks coming down for Monk here. Tech Lab being added on to one of them. Viking coming out, siege tank.
I really like that Mojahid's going for this aggression again, though, because we've seen that his multitasking is really good, and every time he seems to be just a little bit behind, he manages to bring himself back by doing moves like this, where he just keeps on constant pressure and waits for his opponent to screw up so that he can just end the game. You know, he's very good at seeing openings like that.
Yeah.
He's going to fly right over these Marines, and he sees that, changes direction, and now the tank is in the main of Monk.
Monk's tank is in position, but it is getting taken out and does
It
fall.
gets cleaned up really quickly there.
Monk does have a Viking that will end up cleaning up these medevacs. And
He actually picks up the Marines and lets his tank die. Then interesting choice.
This drop will get cleaned up.
But he did take out 7 workers. He took out a siege tank, bunch of Marines. I think it was still definitely worth it. And he's got another drop come down here in the natural.
An interesting thing to note is how far behind Monk's upgrades are right now. Maljahid already has this +1 attack and stim almost completed, while I don't believe Monk has even started stim. Yeah, hasn't started stim, and this drop is doing damage, and these Marines are going to trade insanely well just because they have the upgrade advantage. 19 workers lost so far.
A total of 24 workers killed this game by Maljahid, and he is now at a worker lead.
And there's
Monk must still be having trouble with that mouse problem that he was having. That would be awful if your mouse is double clicking, and then that's going to select, when you're trying to just move one unit, it's going to move all of them.
Yeah, that would be, yeah, actually, I didn't really think it was that big of a deal, but that'd actually be really annoying.
Yeah, if you're trying to like have specific micro, that'd be really frustrating to deal with.
Yeah. Both players ready, so we will resume. Maljahid does have a push coming across the map. I'm not if Monk is in position, I don't see this doing too much damage. But with how many workers he's lost, Monk is actually even. So they're even on supply in terms of workers. Monk has a 3rd CC already completed, ready to be positioned, and Maljahid decides to back off that pressure.
I mean, this is an extremely hard map to try to push up that ramp there. So I think it's a good choice to back off. It's too bad that his expansion's a little bit behind, but I don't think it's going to be that detrimental to him.
Yeah, I think it's a very big testament to how this game's been going that Maljahid did almost like about 20 workers worth of damage, and he's even, like one worker ahead. Stim coming out. Sorry, go ahead.
That seems to be like a common theme that we've seen with Maljahid since we've watched, you know, every game that he's played so far this tournament. Is that he does a lot of damage with his aggression, but then he's not very greedy behind it either. So a lot of times it ends up evening out.
Yeah, I think definitely he would be a much stronger player if he much more feared player, I guess, if he took bases more aggressively behind his advantages.
Yeah, I just don't know if he has that option. I think he dedicates so much to the units that he's making that he can't. Oh, and this Viking spots us a drop, and he's going to try to pick off one of the medevacs. And there they go, dropping into the natural. And there is one siege tank in place already.
Already getting shots off on that first tank.
When that first tank will fall, a lot of these Marines, though, just walking in range of this siege tank.
Not even going to matter. Cleaned up. With doing pretty much nothing in terms of damage. Loses both medevacs. Loses the 2 tanks as well as the Marines. And Monk is looking to be in a better and better position as this game goes on.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for Maljahid because he really needed to do a little bit of damage there. He definitely couldn't just throw that drop away. I think he'd be in an okay position if he traded evenly. But just throwing those units away puts him in a much tougher position. He's now behind in workers and army supply.
Mech weapons coming out here for both players. +2 attack as well as combat shields coming in from Monk. And looks like both players again are just kind of content to sit back a little bit.
I love with Legacy of the Void that we see a lot more of these sensor towers.
Yeah.
You know, I really love the way Legacy of the Void kind of gives personality back, I feel like, to all 3 races. You know, like they each have very distinctive play styles. You don't see a lot of just like, you know, not a lot of turtling from any players. You don't see a lot of death balls. So it's, I think it's really cool to see that the way that a lot of like small changes had such a huge effect on the way the game plays out in general.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I think Legacy of the Void's been my favorite time to play StarCraft.
Definitely.
And especially to watch and cast StarCraft. Just like I haven't like no two matches are the same.
And like watching it is so much more fun because there's, you know, you can't really call it until it's over.
Yeah.
You know, like it used to be like within the first engagement or first couple of minutes when you see the build order, you know who's going to win unless somebody screws up really bad.
Yeah. But assuming both players are equal skill in Legacy of the Void, it still could be a toss-up at any engagement.
Yeah. It comes down to like big power units like flying tanks and, you know, disruptors and Ravager shots. Yeah, exactly. But both players posturing quite a bit there. Neither player really wanting to commit, but it looks like Monk gonna push forward here. Big shots going down on those Marines. Majahid trying to spread out his tanks here and get a good defensive position. And he does shoot Monk's tanks there who are clumped up. Ooh, but Monk pushing in, and it looks like he's gonna get a lot of kills here. His tanks in the back doing a lot of damage. And both players, I feel like, overextending the Marines a little bit, losing more than they need to. Oh, but Majahid going to throw away a couple more of his Marines trying to dive on those tanks, and they're going to get taken out.
And it feels like Monk's Marines are almost overextended, but they're still trading well.
They're trading extremely well. He does have to be careful, though. He doesn't want to leave these tanks completely naked back here.
Majahid does have superior armor upgrades in this fight, but Monk is still trading very well just because of how big of a supply advantage he has. And his reinforcements do arrive.
Yeah, Monk's army supply right now is about double that of Majahid, so this is going to be still, I mean, it's still a very, very uphill battle for Majahid. Monk just getting further and further ahead as the game goes on.
Yeah, Monk just proving how good his macro can be.
And that's really what won it for him. I mean, he lost so much in those harassments, but he, like you said, he still had equal worker counts when all that was said and done. So
I think really that's the key to defeating Monk is just you have to get him so far behind. You have to get him behind early and then capitalize on it, which we know has been a weakness of Majahid so far this entire tournament.
Yeah, that was a really nice engagement there by Monk. He scanned, saw that the infantry units from Majahid had left, so he just dove on those tanks, took them all out. And now Majahid's going to try to hold the top of this ramp, I guess, and Monk just being cautious, I feel like, is the only thing keeping Majahid alive right now.
Yeah, and it looks like Majahid is going to take a base on the far left side.
Actually having to lift up his
does have some Marines pushing up to this fourth base. But is getting stopped by a planetary fortress.
And then the medevac gets taken out.
Medevac. That's unfortunate. Unfortunate for Majahid. Monk moving his tanks forward is getting shots off on this refinery and a bit of bio. But still unable to push up completely. One of Majahid's tanks is getting shots off onto Monk's.
Yeah, I mean, Monk's tanks are pretty low right now, so he might be able to hold this off, but he's way behind this.
And Majahid's tanks were exposed there. The Marines are now trading with each other, but Monk's tanks are still in range with superior numbers than the one tank of Majahid that is nestled up in between this command center and
nice
factory.
Drop there.
Yeah, nice drop on top of the tanks.
It's gonna be really cool to see how much this matchup changes once if those changes that they're discussing actually go through, where you can't pick up siege tanks anymore.
Yeah,
that's going to change this matchup so much.
I'm imagining that it's going to make it a lot slower paced, but yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how it changes because like Terran players are going to have to fundamentally change how they play, just the matchup.
Yeah,
right. Such a huge part of it. Monk stemming forward here. And moving his tanks in. Tanks drop and get nice volleys off onto the Majigit's tanks. Majigit's tanks do fall, and this army's cleaned up.
Majigit had his tanks out first, so he actually cleaned up quite a bit of Monk's army. But the army supply from Monk just so far ahead that he needs even better engagements than that.
Yeah.
He's going to chase away Monk's army once again. Can you imagine how scary that would be to see in real life? See all these medevacs flying in with siege tanks.
That would be... Yeah, I think I would need new pants.
Yeah.
I saw that in real life. And I knew that it was coming for me. Just
right? Like, I wouldn't want to be a Marine in...
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be a Marine in Majigit's army at the moment.
Yeah. This one hero Marine down here in the bottom right did clean up 2 Vikings. I don't know if that makes the biggest deal in the world, but...
Nice. Yeah. Good stories, at least, for that guy.
Yeah. Monk's tanks do sweep in here and get a nice volley off onto the bio of Majigit. Monk's tanks are in superior number and get shots off. Nice micro from Majigit, saving that 1 siege tank. And Majigit just has too little here, I think. Monk's bio is kind of lacking over here. But when you have this many tanks, I don't know that you really need too much bio.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is macro versus micro right now. You know, like Majigit has had better engagements every time as far as like cost efficiency goes, but Monk's just been outproducing him so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at resources lost, it's pretty close considering how bad Monk's been, you know, outsupplying his opponent for almost this entire game. So.
Yeah, I feel like as soon as Monk goes on the offensive, we'll really see how big that differential is. Because for right now, Monk is just kind of getting more bases and just continuing to macro. And is almost, I wouldn't say letting his opponent back into the game, but giving his opponent a chance to possibly to not die yet, which...
I mean, he did try to end the game once, and he lost almost all of his units twice in a row, so I think he's got to be a little bit more cautious this time. This base forced to lift off. That leaves Majigit with only 1 mining base. And there's just really no way for him to engage this. He's getting ready to kind of cut these forces off and at least save his command center.
Yeah, Majigit just doing what he can here.
Look how long it takes Monk to load up all these siege tanks into medevacs.
Yeah. He has to find which ones are empty.
I know, like he just has too many. At this point, he should be transitioning into battle cruisers or something.
Yeah, just...
Ooh, dropping the tanks and taking big hits there.
Monk's bio pushes through and it's on top of the tanks of Majigit. And that could be the fight that decides this game or finishes it.
Yeah, that was... I mean,
Really
it was really hard to tell what was going on
Monk.
with all those medevacs on top, but...
Although Monk is backing off? Oh, he forgot a tank. Can't forget a tank.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's kind of afraid because he's been taking a lot of damage on all of his units, so I feel like he thinks that they're weak enough that, you know, 1 or 2 good volleys from Majigit is going to knock everything out.
Yeah, which I think is actually a pretty rational fear.
Yeah, and I mean, he's got so many mining bases. He should feel pretty comfortable just letting his opponent, you know, giving him a little bit of breathing room. Like, it's the worst feeling in the world when you know you're going to win and you try to end the game, and that's how you end up throwing the game.
Yeah, and like, so now we see him getting, looks like a planetary fortress wall over by his some numbered base. I think that's 6.
Yeah, 6 base.
6 base. At least I'm assuming that's going to be planetary fortress. I can't think of anything else he would be getting.
And Majigit trying to do the Olympic medals symbol there with his sensor towers. He needs just 1 more up by the gold base. It looked perfect.
He's just going for gold, man. Monk is coming down to pressure this 4th base location. Those poor SCVs had their days were numbered.
Yeah, Mao Jihid just can't catch a break
big
here.
volley on the start of those tanks, but there's just too much. Monk is maxed out, even with all these losses he's taking here. The bio is on top of the tanks and underneath these medevacs.
Yeah. He's even just going to kidmint these Marines to try to take out the planetary fortress, and it is going to fall, and that's going to be the good game.
That was a crazy game. Very long as well, compared to our previous TVT series.
Yeah, and in Legacy of the Void, all these games feel longer too. Like that felt like such a long game.
Yeah,
it was 21 minutes. But they do use real time now too instead of Blizzard time, so I guess that would have been like a 30-minute game or something like that in the old Blizzard time.
Yeah. So just next map will be Lairlight Crest. Monk on match point.
You know, surprisingly, in that last game, if you look at resource collection rate, they were actually pretty even almost the entire game.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of surprised about because I thought that Monk had a pretty good lead for most of the game. The one thing was he like took off big time with army supply, but
yeah, just very close. Like these are two very closely matched players, I think. Whenever Mao Jihid plays to his strength, which is that multitasking and picking apart his opponent in preparation for a stronger push pretty soon after that. We saw him do the damage that he would be wanting to do, but Monk just macroed out of it until it was late enough to where that damage didn't matter anymore. Imagine he could be taking those trades where he's killing 29 to 30 workers, and he's just even at that point.
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
Yeah, just a place you never want to be in. Spawning in the bottom right position, in the blue, it is Team Unrivaled's Monk. And
down here in the bottom left-hand side of Lairlight Crest, it's going to be the light blue Terran. Outsets Mao Jihid. And just watching with that stream delay, you know, TB Ham has some pretty sick observer skills with cinematic camera pans and all that stuff. Oh yeah, I always make my camera is the same as his for the start of it, and just to enjoy that. Yeah, I did that last time I was casting though. For some reason, whenever I followed his camera when he did the introductions, my screen would just get stuck in the sideways position, and then I'd have to cast the rest of the game from like this weird angle. So I stopped doing that. Wow, now I'm scared of that. I'm not gonna do that every time. I don't know why it happened every single game that I followed him on. So I was like, wow. No more. Yeah, now I'm terrified. I just do my own introductions. Yeah. Just spin the camera. I don't even actually know how to spin the camera. I have mine insert and delete. I don't know if that's default or not. I want to figure it out, but okay, both players scouting the incorrect direction, so it's going to be a minute before either of them has any intel. So it's going to force them to play a little bit safer in most cases, unless they just really want to risk it all. Yeah, they do cross each other in the middle of the map, or I guess top middle of the map, but it doesn't really tell them anything unless they're very, very observant. Yeah, I mean, you never know when your opponent's going to scout, you know, so you can't really tell much by that timing. And so we do see both players getting a fairly early expansion. Mao Jihid is taking his on the high ground. And Factory coming down for Monk, and finally now for Mao Jihid as well. Well, this Reaper should be able to pick off this SCV, but no, he's going to go up into the main and get some scouting done. And back into the natural, back into the main. And he's going to pick off that Marine there. And that's going to actually be really annoying, because Marines coming out one by one aren't going to stop this Reaper. Yeah, and does practical difficulties. Does get one. Oh, we'll get stopped by. Oh, there we go. Reaper. Where did that was that Reaper out on the map?
I think so. I think it was holding
okay.
the tower or something like that.
Oh, weird. But now he's going to try to poke into Maljahid's base. See that there's no expansion, which seems pretty consistent with the last game we saw.
Yeah. We'll eventually see that it's on the high ground if he actually goes up there.
And he...
Maljahid inviting him in, like, no, please, come in.
There goes the Hellion to take out the Reaper. It does clean it up.
And Starport coming down for Maljahid. Yeah, they're such similar colors. I hate them.
Yeah, no.
Coming down from Maljahid and a tech lab on that factory, so we will see Siege Tank play. Padula saying this map is why Dubs cry, for some reason.
Yeah, you know, and I thought the way they changed those rocks was going to make it better, but I actually think it makes it worse because it makes it really, really asymmetrical. You know, like
yeah, and it makes it like almost awkward to know when to defend, when you should be defending your third or not.
Yeah,
because I'm not familiar with how much health these rocks have.
Maljahid's push actually doing a ton of damage here.
Four
workers
SCVs,
killed already,
more.
and he's still hitting
5.
them.
Widowmine is trying to burrow to
there.
get a nice little hit, but won't get anything.
That is an awkward place for a Widowmine, though. That wasn't that Widowmine's original duty station, for sure.
Scan coming down for Monk, checking out everything that Maljahid has. Actually, he does have a third almost completed here. Well, not one even building for Monk.
It's interesting. That's much different than the way that we've seen Maljahid play in the past.
Yeah, which is
so I wonder if
what
he's
he
just...
needs.
Yeah, so I mean, I wonder if he's practiced this way, though, because I mean, it can be really awkward if you're not used to playing a really greedy style. You'll all of a sudden end up with all this money that you're not used to having. So
Yeah.
I mean, as long as he's comfortable playing like this, I think it's a good idea, but we'll have to see if he knows how to capitalize on that. And this Widowmine drop now flying in here, and there is a missile turret waiting.
Oh wow,
That Siege Tank getting a nice shot off there. It looks like this Widowmine is a little bit out of range there, and it's going to get a nice shot off
that
there.
was a good shot,
Hellion
yeah.
pulling the shot back to the Marines. Raven comes out, and that will get cleaned up. But
Yeah.
pretty decent drop. I mean, he didn't lose a whole lot for that, and
Yeah, and Maljahid does have his third CC completed, or third orbital now, I guess, while Monk is only just going down. So if he's able to capitalize on this and not die to any push or take too much damage, he should be in a pretty good spot.
well, Ninkazi likes this map, so I guess I do too now.
Well, if Ninkazi likes it, that's all that
Yeah,
matters.
it must be a good map. So
Yeah,
I take it back what I
Ninkazi's-
said.
Yeah, Ninkazi's life. His word is law. Drop coming in here for Maljahid. Yeah.
Oh, and that
Absolutely, yeah.
that Viking actually changed its pathing right there to let that medevac
Wow.
through.
He is in range of a siege tank. Maljahid is trying to get on top of it.
And he might. Yeah, he does manage to take that siege tank out. Those SCVs were trying to repair it. Didn't quite get there in time.
2 SUVs going down, now 3. But overall, I don't think that was worth it.
I mean, it's hard to say. He took out a siege tank, a couple of SCVs.
Oh, he did get a siege tank, you're right. Yeah. I think so. I think that just about balances out.
Yeah, and I mean, it really depends on what the engagements later on look like. 'Cause like we were saying with Legacy of the Void, you know, it's really unpredictable. So, like, you can't just look at the resources lost, I feel like, as much as you used to be able to in the other expansions.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
'cause it really comes down to what kind of composition you need when the time comes.
2 Marine drop coming in here from Monk. And
that-
is running for its life.
I mean, that is annoying, though, to have to send another SCV over to build that sensor tower.
Yeah,
So
for sure. And so yeah, Sensor Tower coming down, guarding that third, watching out for any drops for Maljahid. Monk's third is landing at a similar time, although He does already have his gases saturated on that third base.
See, this is what I meant by being a lot more asymmetrical now, because I feel like Monk's third is way more susceptible to harass because of the positions, whereas like Maljahid's a natural isn't as susceptible because it's a natural and that's where his army's going to be anyway, and that's where his ramp is. So
yeah, I would definitely agree. I didn't ever really think about that, but yeah, now that you point that out, it's that's interesting. I wonder if we'll see that play a factor here in this game.
You know, Monk moving out with these tank drops, but it got scanned as they were moving out. Oh, and I guess he's just going to turn them and send them back home anyway.
Hell, bad.
Look at all these Vikings responding to that.
Yeah.
So that is a good thing those tanks turned around, because the Vikings were out for blood.
Yeah. Armory coming down for Maljahid, a second armory. Excuse me. That is getting blue flame for those Hellbats that he's getting. Is getting, I think that's Neosol frame. Is that what that's called? I don't know. I don't play Terran. I apologize. +1 armor about to finish up for Monk.
Are you talking about the high-sec auto-tracking that's up there right now?
Yeah, that. I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, it's for the missile turrets.
Okay. Learn something new every day.
Yeah, they become sniping turrets.
And so it looks like Maljahid is just going to go into mech type style here, which I think is going to pretty handily deal with the army that Monk's building.
Maljahid definitely more tank heavy in his composition.
Yeah, we do have that air superiority that we talked about a little bit in one of the previous series.
Liberator is actually coming out for Monk.
Huh.
So that'll be interesting to see. I haven't seen a lot of the dynamic between like a player who's going heavy tank versus Liberator. Obviously, tanks aren't going to shoot up. These Hellions aren't going to shoot up. But the Thors will, so. And the Vikings do pretty well against Liberators too, so. It'll be interesting to see how this pans out. Because theoretically, I feel like Maljahid has a better army. But...
yeah, it'll just be all about those engagements, if I can speak English today.
Yeah, English is tough, though.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Like, people who speak other languages have it easy, because it's, you know,
Yeah,
other languages are pretty simple.
Yeah, they don't have 4 different types of your.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you know, like, nobody outside of Korea speaks Korean, so if those guys screw up, nobody really knows, because nobody can speak with their language, but everybody speaks English, so.
Freaking global power. Come on.
I know.
Why can't we just like stay in our little
American, sorry.
Yeah, speaks American. Even the people in England speak American.
Look at this expansion that Maljahid's taking, because he has that mech army, so he knows he's gonna have a good defensive position. That's really cool. And then he's just gonna be able to he'll be able to siege up in his own 4th base and hit the buildings in Monk's 3rd.
Oh wow, yeah. Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying with the asymmetric. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So I feel like Monk would definitely want to take out these rocks that are guarding his 3rd, because he has the more mobile army, so he's going to want to be able to jump between those 2 locations a lot quicker.
I think he almost has to in order to react fast enough.
Yeah, like otherwise he's just going to be stuck. There we go. He's going to take those out right now. And there we go. There go the siege tanks, and now going to start hitting away on this missile turret and the sensor tower. Those are going to get cleaned up, and he'll just be able to leapfrog tanks actually across that little chasm.
And now the air army moves in.
This is such a crazy position.
If Maljahid isn't careful, he could lose a lot of this air army to these Liberators very quickly. And really his entire army to these Liberators.
I like the Monk's taking that base up in the far top right, because I think he knows that this 3rd base that he has isn't necessarily going to last a whole lot longer. Nice liberation zone there, going to put an end to that tank leapfrogging, at least for now.
Yeah, I think getting these Liberators is a very smart choice.
Ooh, big drop coming down here.
Wow.
And Maljahid's 3rd.
Lots of damage coming down.
Oh my god.
A lot of Maljahid's army is getting blocked by these doors.
And then Monk's army actually getting cleaned up really effectively.
He did lose a lot of those Vikings, so Monk might have air superiority now, but
Yeah, I think he
Monk did lose a
definitely
lot.
does, but he doesn't have much on the ground anymore, so he's just basically relying on Viking Liberator. But that can be pretty strong. Liberation zone's
Yeah.
going down. Oh my gosh, that Thor just cleaned up so many Vikings.
Yeah, he's definitely getting his money's worth from
Yeah.
these Thors.
Oh yeah, those Thors are carrying the whole army right now. Good thing they've got a strong back. 14 kills on that one Thor and then 6 on the other two, so
Wow, that's ridiculous.
it's a
So
pretty good
now,
unit.
from here, Magic could just kind of leapfrog, like you were saying, and just win.
I think Monk's biggest problem is he doesn't have Thors, which are apparently a pretty good unit, so he should probably make some of those.
Yeah, Blaze is in the chat saying that the best way to beat Mech is to mass Liberator because the Vikings will die to the splash. But Monk just figured out that it was Mech too late.
Yeah,
Because at this point, like, the Mech army's here. Like, it's done. And Monk is just kind of having to react.
man, because he doesn't have Liberator range, does he?
I don't believe so, no.
So
Yeah.
without that, the Thors can just hang out outside of the Liberator's range and hit them, even if they're going straight on against the Liberators. So this 4 Brave Marines gonna try to focus down this tank.
Almost.
And they
Oh, they
get
do
it.
get it. Heroes.
Nice job. Before they get burned to a crisp, but they will never be forgotten.
I think Malchikid might be on a timer here. These Liberators are going to be very hard to deal with en masse, and especially once they get that range. Assuming Monk decides to
Yeah.
go for that, of course.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't look like he's going to. I feel like a lot of players forget that that upgrade even exists once they get to a certain point. You know, like if it's
Yeah, for sure.
that siege
Yeah.
tank sieging up under the Liberator, gonna get taken out pretty quickly.
Unfortunate.
And
This door is getting hit, but it's getting nicely repaired there.
it's getting repaired, but more Liberation zones
wow.
going down. A lot of them.
And this army's going to get cleaned up.
Oh, they get cleaned up so quick.
That's brutal.
And then the Marine's
man.
gonna come and join the party.
A good unit. And so suddenly the momentum is completely changed here. Monk is on the defensive. He has the better army. And
Yeah,
there's
Tim
not
has a
really
lot of
anything
good units.
Malchik can do about it.
Missile turrets are pretty good against Liberators, though.
Yeah. We'll put a delay to it for now, but really all Monk needs to do is get some things on the ground and he can just win the game.
Looks like 7 SCVs gonna come down here and repair all these. They've got a lot of work ahead of them. They're very effective, though. So
Yeah. Just
it's so hard to tell the
Getting
colors
them
between,
yeah, it's rough.
like the what do they call it? Scanner sweep going down. It's like they look like the same color.
Yeah. And if you like look at if you click on the like camera drop down thing, they're about the same color. So it's good times.
Yeah.
We do see Monk finally getting that Liberator range. Thank you, TV Ham, for pointing that out.
Mineral
Uh,
completed.
Oh yeah.
And so from here, it's just a matter of time. I think the longer Monk waits, the more potential Malchid has to get a better army. But with this Liberator range, Thors aren't going to cut it. Plain and simple.
Battle cruisers coming out.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
what you need.
Yeah. I mean, why not at this point, right? I mean,
I know. I've always wanted to see battle cruisers because I feel like their jump ability seems pretty good, but it doesn't seem like you can safely get to that tech without dying to something else first.
The
So
only
hopefully
time
we
I've
get to
ever
see some
used
cool
it
battle
is-
cruiser play.
sorry. Yeah. The only time I've ever used it is in Archon. Whenever like we were playing against 2 bronze people and they just didn't know how to kill me. Like Liberator sieging up, picking off a tank. Nice little play from Monk there.
He's actually going to dive in on top of this planetary fortress. I don't think that's going to work, but
Does draw the army away, but Monk's not really going to do
That's
anything
true.
with that.
Yeah, like, I mean, the big problem right now for Monk's current army is that he doesn't really have anything that can hit missile turrets unless his Vikings land. But once the battle cruisers come out, then that will be the answer to that.
Yeah.
And this Marine down up here in the top left, denying this expansion,
Yeah.
kills a refinery.
That Hellion has no time for heroes. Takes him out.
I mean, like the Thors and the Liberators are the focal points of the army, but the Marines are definitely the ones that work the hardest, have the most heart.
Yeah. They're the ones with the most personality at the end of the day. And that's what matters.
Ninkazi says that Monk loves late game air battles. So
Yeah, you always see him just wanting to get to this point. And now he's finally here.
yeah, that's it. I really like the. I mean, I play Protoss, so I love Golden Armada, but
Mao Shahid is kind of backing himself into a corner here.
yeah,
Monk has the potential to set his army up, and Mao Shahid will have to fight him to get out, and I don't know that he'll win that fight.
it was nice that Maljid was able to take out that base there at the top right, though.
But,
It's
yeah,
scanning, so he
that's-
knows the location of his enemy. He sees that there are a couple of battle cruisers in the mix as well. There's so many Thors. The only problem is Thors are pretty slow, so once his liberation zones go down, if the Liberators are spread out properly, then
Yeah, he just has to stand and
I
tank
think-
it,
yeah.
which I don't think he'll be able to do.
I mean, it's tough to say. I'm really excited to see how it's going to turn out once they have that big engagement. Looks like Monk going to send a small hit squad down here to the bottom center side.
Oh, and
And he
here
does
we go.
focus down a Thor, so that's nice. And
Liberation zones go down right on top of the entire army. A bunch of Thors go down. Yamato cannon going down on a
Nice.
few of these Thors. More
nice
Liberation
Seeker
zones
missile
going down.
there. And there go
Thors
the
are
big
unable to escape.
liberation zones. The Thors can't
Huge
stand there. They're going to
damage.
try to, and they get taken out extremely quickly.
Really nice Yamato
Now the
cannons
battle
there
cruiser's gonna
on
chase
top
him down.
of those Liberation zones. Really nice play from Monk there. That was a really clean engagement. Knew what he had to do and just did it. There's nothing
Yeah.
else to say. GG. Monk takes the series 2-1 to face Ninkazi in the finals.
And don't let Monk get to late game, apparently. That's his
Yeah,
spot.
just brutal. Yeah, I like that was a very interesting game. I think it just I've never seen a TVT go that late at this point in this tournament. That was really fun to watch.
Yeah, you don't usually get to see battle
One-
cruisers, so that's exciting.
One thing that's interesting to note is that Ninkazi got to watch that entire series.
Yeah, I mean he's had a lot of time to watch a lot of these games. I've seen him in chat pretty much the entire tournament, so he's got everybody's playstyle nailed down pat. I think he already had it pretty much figured out because he seems to be like casting from the chat. So,
Yeah,
but it definitely doesn't hurt to see everybody's builds ahead of time.
yeah, for sure. Ninkazi is feeling like a best of 3. Monk says that he practices with the best mech player on NA, by the way, which is obviously but it's EGK, which is
Yeah.
quite a big name. That's crazy. And so yeah, so Ninkazi is asking if Monk wants to do best of 5, but Monk really wants to do best of 5. So it looks like we're doing that. Vito's going down now.
Right away, Ninkazi says no arena.
Smart of him, doesn't want to lose to anything weird on a
So-
weird map.
If Monk practices with the best mech player in North America, then that would suggest that Ninkazi is going to go mech and try to take the mantle of the best mech player in North America.
Yeah, totally. I'd love to see it. Let's do it.
I know.
Let's just
I
do
think-
5 mech games. 1 hour each. It'll be glorious.
Nobody's allowed to get medevacs, just strictly tanks and marines.
And no one's allowed to pause to take breaks for any reason in between games. Man. All right, so both players will be taking a short break here. So, what do you think going into this game the result's going to be?
I don't know. It's tough to say. I didn't realize that Monk was so like that. He practices with the best mech player in North America. Like that's pretty telling. Because I knew Ninkazi. He plays against a lot of like grandmaster players and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I knew he was really good. And then I haven't seen Monk though, and I don't know if he practices with people who are just as good. Then it should be a really interesting series.
Yeah, for sure. And these two have played a lot of times before. So it's possible we'll see a bunch of mind games from these two.
I'm gonna say it's gonna go 3-1 Ninkazi though.
I'm gonna say 3-2 Monk.
All right.
So yeah, just both players taking a break, getting there. Monk wiping the blood off his hands from his fallen foes.
The oil from all those stores.
The tears of his opponent's women. All right.
In the meantime, if you guys want to make a donation to go to straight to the prize pool for these two players, you can do that right below the video on Twitch. There's an area where you can donate here. It says, and it's underlined, and you can click that and make donations and supersize their meal from McDonald's.
Yeah, donate enough, and they might even be able to get like Chipotle. That's value. Looks like the first map will be Dusk, and then second map will be Orbital, third map will be Laralac, and fifth map will be Ruins. Pretty standard maps, nothing too crazy. And looks like we're just about ready to hop into it. And if you don't know what the Chobo Team League is, it's a team league for bronze to diamond. Well, more gold to diamond at this point. Gold to diamond to compete in a pro league style format match and a pro league format match every week. You can go to choboteamleague.com and join one of our many awesome teams like Guns N' Roaches or Team Unrivaled. One of whom is going to win this week and one of whom isn't. We all know who that's going to be. Yeah,
unfortunately we do.
And Kazi wanted to hide the match history, even though it's being casted.
Yeah, he's big on that match history hiding.
Fair enough. I know he's doing that flip side tactics tournament thing. So, doesn't want anyone to scout him too hard.
Yeah. I get that. Like sometimes when I play in automated tournaments, I don't want people to see my match history either.
Yeah.
Because then they get too confident seeing my losing streaks that are usually on there.
Yeah. It's interesting stuff. Spawning in the top right position in the light blue representing Team Guns N' Roaches, it is Ninkazi.
And down on the bottom left-hand side, representing Team Unrivaled, is a Red Terran player, Monk. Did you ever see the show Monk?
Yes, I saw a little bit of it. I never
Adrian Monk.
Yeah, I never
I
watched.
loved that show.
Much.
The first season was really good, and then they replaced. Oh, I didn't know you were 10. But
yeah,
yeah, back in the day, they used to have this show, and the first season was really good, but then they replaced one of the supporting actresses, and then kind of went downhill from there. But it was like the first TV series that I ever actually got really into.
Huh. Yeah, I enjoyed what I've seen, but It's too old for me. I'm not.
Yeah,
It's not hip enough.
you probably wouldn't understand it because they aren't walking around with iPhones and stuff. So probably wouldn't make any sense to you.
Yeah, that's why I don't watch. That's why I don't watch anything
You'd be
other
like-
than. What? Go ahead.
You'd be like, isn't there an app for that? And
Yeah, no.
you wouldn't get anything that's going on.
That's why old horror films are ruined for me. I'm like, gosh, why don't they just use emergency call?
Text somebody, Jesus.
I know. Ugh. Old people are so lame. Especially TB Ham. Ugh.
Yeah.
Just kidding, TB Ham. So, we do have Factory coming down for Ninkasi. Earlier expansion coming out from Monk with a Reaper on the way. Reaper coming out now. And, yeah, just pretty much what we've seen a lot from Monk's series, just having that earlier expansion in trade for taking maybe a little bit more damage in the early game than his opponents will be.
So it's going to be really interesting to get a chance to cast the TBT today. So I'm really excited about that. It's
Yeah.
a nice opportunity that we don't usually get.
Yeah, I'm excited to just learn stuff about how other races play.
Yeah. Are there other races other than Terran in this game?
No.
I didn't think so.
There were rumors about like maybe adding in a race called the Zerg, but no one who played it was any good. So they just
Yeah, there's
removed
like a
it.
campaign for that, but
Yeah.
I think that was
Well, and even that you had to pay for from the original game. Like
Yeah.
DLC, come on.
no, that's why I never got it. Like
Yeah, me neither. I just stuck with I just stuck with Terran. This SCV rush. I don't even make units that don't look like humans because at the end of the day they're aliens, and that's not.
oh yeah, you can't relate to that. Like how are you supposed to
Exactly.
pretend that you're the character if they don't look like you?
I know. I want to pretend that I'm a proud Marine, dying horribly hundreds of times a game.
Yeah, that's why I miss the Vulture too. I mean, since you're 10, you probably don't know that there's a game called Brood War, but
What?
in this game there was this thing called a Vulture, and they had such a bad attitude that I love to hate those guys. But I was like, I always wish that I had a Vulture bike.
Wait, was this like a little bird? Was it like, did it scavenge dead or
No,
dying
it was like
people?
a motorcycle. Like you hear Jim Raynor reference it every once in a while in StarCraft 2, but it was like a motorcycle, but it like hovered. And
Oh, it's like the one in the oh crap. I can't make the joke because I don't remember the name of the Brood War thing that's in StarCraft 2. The you know what I'm talking about? It has like they put all the Brood War units in it, and it's
are you talking about like the Brood War revival thing? Or are you talking about like Starbow?
Starbow. That
Yeah,
thing. Yeah,
yeah.
I
I was
remember
big
that.
into Starbow for a little bit too.
I did like one match of it because I was curious, and I got absolutely destroyed. And I was like, I'll just stick with StarCraft 2. I can be bad at one game. I'm okay with
Yeah, I mean, I think the cool thing about Starbow is that there was like fights all over the map. Like it did kind of capture the feeling of Brood War a little bit, and as an alternative to Heart of the Swarm, I felt like it was a good alternative. But once Legacy of the Void came out, I feel like Blizzard kind of fixed all the problems that they had, and
Yeah.
then on top of that, like there were a lot of things that were cool in Brood War, and they were hard to do in Brood War because you could only select 12 units. But then when you had mass selection available, it made it pretty overpowered. Like vultures are so good in Starbow because you can just
Yeah,
like
it's
select a bajillion of them, and that's fine.
I always understood that that like Flash it was / is like such a god in Brood War because he like seemingly could select all his units at the same time.
Yeah,
Like
and this medevac almost getting taken out here at the top
yeah,
center,
very close.
but the
Kinda like a game
Viking,
in hand now. Like,
yeah. Guess there is a game going on.
you know.
More on Starbow later. And this Raven going to come in here and get taken out right away. So far, Ninkazi putting a lot of money into these harassments that aren't doing anything at all. But he's not behind. Let me make that perfectly clear.
You can never say Ninkazi's behind.
No,
He's just not ahead.
Ninkazi light years ahead at this point, having both of his drops shut down.
Yeah. I would definitely like to see him snowball this lead he has into some more aggression.
Into an actual lead.
Yeah. Ninkazi does have the faster upgrades, though, which is pretty important, so we'll have to see how that plays out for him. Monk having that earlier 3rd CC into orbital could give him a bigger lead like we've seen him get in his previous TVT series.
You know, I was being sarcastic, but Ninkazi's army actually does look pretty scary. He's got 4 tanks, a couple of SCVs coming to repair, quite a few Marines mixed in there too.
It's deciding not to push out just yet, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that is. I guess he's going to send a couple of Marines for... No, is he just... Why is he sieging up there? Is he sieging up so he can put them in the medevacs?
That would be the only thing that would make sense, right?
I guess we'll have to see. Nope, he's going to leave him there.
Well, okay.
Yeah. I guess he figures a counterattack is going to come through that small choke there, and the tanks will do well.
Yeah.
Or is that a mistake?
Sure. I think it has to be a mistake.
Because it seems weird to just like move out and be like, I have 4 tanks, I think I'll bring 1.
He does unsiege one of them.
Okay.
The other 2 are still there. I'm not sure I understand the thought process.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Ninkazi is so far above me as far as Terran's strategy goes. I'm so lost right now.
He's thinking like 3 games ahead.
Yep, and he's just going to pull back there.
All right.
Just postured, flexed his muscles a little bit, and decided to back off.
Yeah, just
and take a later 3rd.
He could attack, but he chose not to because he's a merciful god.
So Ninkazi getting even further ahead now, taking his 3rd a little bit later than his opponent.
Yeah, Stim finishing up earlier for Monk, putting Ninkazi even further ahead. Although Ninkazi does have the way earlier plus 2 attack and armor, as well as mech attack. So he is ahead on that front. He is actually ahead on that front, not just ahead.
I mean, I do think the army supplies, even though they do slightly favor Monk right now, are close enough that it really depends on how the engagement goes. So whichever player can micro those tank drops better, I think is going to come out ahead. A nice scan there from Ninkazi, so he sees that his opponent's moving out. So he does have an advantage in that sense. Monk doesn't really know where his opponent's at. But those 2 Marines kind of gave it away, so he's going to back off a little bit.
Decent shots from Ninkazi's tanks there.
Yeah. Nice opening shots. He even has a couple of extra tanks that don't have a medevac paired up with them, so he's going to have a little bit of extra firepower to fall back on as well. And now it's time for the standoff.
Yep, just daring the other person to push into their tank line.
And you gotta wait for the scans to wear off, so you just kind of gotta sit there and pretend like you weren't doing anything until the scans go away.
More scans coming down. Another CC being built for Monk. 3-3 being started for Ninkazi here, while 2-2 is only about halfway done for Monk.
Ninkazi going to push forward, and that's going to prompt Monk to start the engagement.
2 of these tanks are on siege for Ninkazi, and they do fall. And huge tank shots. That's a big win for Monk there.
Yeah, big win there.
Both players do fall back to their home base. And looks like Monk will just chill.
I'm really impressed. Like, during that whole thing, you know, it's such a nerve-wracking position. It's hard not to babysit your units, but both players were doing a really good job of macroing behind it, continuing their upgrades. Monk's building supply depots all across the map to scout drops.
Yeah, both these players are really on top of how they play in this matchup. And we do see Monk getting a nice little spread of supply depots and Marines just to constantly have vision. 2 medevacs are loaded up here for Ninkasi and are moving out along the top middle of the map. They will most likely get spotted. There are very few holes in the vision for Monk here.
Ninkasi seems to have sniffed them out, though. And
Yeah,
it looks like
he's
he
doing a
will
good
make
job
it.
so far.
He will make it the whole way over to this expansion before that drops scouted. And Monk gonna scan
He's finally
at
visible.
Ninkasi's 4th there.
That's supposed
And
to
that
cancel.
does get canceled. And with the whole army of Monk showing up, though, that's going to force these medevacs out. And one of them does get picked off. The full one, though, going to try to boost out of there. And I guess he's just going to park in dead airspace until this Viking finds him.
Will get shoved into certain death.
Rest
Drop
in
landing from
pieces.
Monk in the main of Ninkasi, taking out 2 workers and 3 now. And looks like it's just hanging out. Takes out a supply depot and is going to trade with his army. It is actually trading pretty efficiently here.
Yeah, he's actually going to take out that Marauder, that medevac.
And the Viking.
Healing like a champion.
This is really good trade here for Monk.
Look at these. Even these tanks have to be micro just to take out these Marines. That medevac is on steroids.
Wow.
Medevac's gonna...
And then, meanwhile, Monk's army pushes and takes out the CC. We're doing. I'm
I'd
missing
like to change my prediction.
everything. Ooh,
Oh,
both medevacs getting
man.
picked off. Huge loss there for Ninkasi. FML, says Ninkasi.
Yeah.
FML. FYL, you're indeed, Ninkasi.
And Kaz getting picked apart, barely maintaining a lead at this point.
At this point, Monk just has to... I don't think he should push into this. I think that at this point he just chokes out Ninkasi. And
Yeah, that's what he's doing. We've got sensor towers, missile turrets coming up. He's just going to sit here and do whatever he wants for the rest of the game.
Yeah, Monk's gonna go get some coffee, get a bagel, consider his game plan for next game. That being said,
Yeah, a little
Ninkasi could, in theory, still break out of this.
Yeah, there was a
he'd
game
have
in,
to take a very, very good engagement.
Yeah,
There was a
definitely.
game.
Yeah, sorry. There's a game in Heart of the Storm that I played where my Terran opponent, like, I beat him and then he lifted up all his buildings and like flew away and he kept trying to land them. And I was being stubborn and having a bad day, so I just made a whole bunch of Dark Templar and planted them across the map on patrol, and then I left. And he actually found like this one corner where he built a Raven and then slowly picked apart every Dark Templar I had on the map and won the game while I was gone. So since then, I don't do stuff like that. I just go build a Void Rain in the game. This guy it was so patient. It was like a 3-hour long thing that he slowly destroyed everything on the map.
Combat shields finally getting research for Ninkasi.
And Kazi's going to push out there, pulling the SCVs, but then not actually sending them in.
And he's taking a lot of hits here, not fully committing with the entire army, and it is
that's
going to
so
get up by
brutal.
Monk. GG. Monk takes game 1. Yeah, I mean, just really good defense from the Monk there.
Yeah, that's really, I mean, he won that when he held off that double-pronged drop before it did any damage at all. That's such a bad position to be in. When you're doing drops on 2 sides like that, you're pretty much guaranteed to do at least a little bit of damage. But when you do none at all,
Yeah, just
it's...
yeah, just Monk just skyrocketed ahead after holding every single bit of aggression that Ninkasi tried to throw at him, and just generally outplaying Ninkasi there.
Yeah,
And
and
so
you
I
know,
think, yeah, go ahead.
Ninkasi does sometimes get on tilt too. Like he's really good about consciously trying to maintain a positive attitude. When he does drop games, you know, I mean, he's pretty much always considers himself the better player. So
Yeah.
when he does drop games, he tends to get a little bit frustrated, I think.
Okay. I wonder if that will come into play here. Monk trying to figure out what those two doomed medevacs were doing.
And it says that Ninkazi says that he hit select all army accidentally and lost those, which is why I do not have all army bound to anything.
Yeah, I don't either. Just too much risk, too little reward.
Yeah, so I feel like it's such a crutch, and then you like so many people end up like you can't deal with drops as well. You can't drop as well if you're relying on that button.
Yeah, I used to use it, and then I would always have a really difficult time splitting up my army.
Yeah,
And trying to it's just rough.
If somebody drops you in two places and you're using select all army, it's really easy to screw that up.
Spawning in the bottom left position, down one game, representing Team Guns and Roaches, it is Ninkazi.
And up here in the top right-hand side of Orbital Shipyard, up one game, is going to be Team Unrivaled's Monk.
Both players. Ninkazi getting a pretty early gas here before his barracks.
Yeah, there's SCV heading out pretty early too, and he doesn't seem... No, I guess it is heading in a scouting position, but... I don't know. I guess maybe that is just going to be scouting. Nope. Not heading in a scouting position anymore.
Let's see what he decides to do with this.
It's only one SCV, so we're not seeing that 4 racks again. Or was it 5 racks? I think by the end of it, it was like 5 or 6 racks.
Yeah, it was too many racks. Too many racks for whoever he did that against to survive.
Mao Jahid, I think.
Oh yeah, Mao Jahid. He had a really good showing, Mao Jahid. I'm kind of sad he's out.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching his games.
Yeah, like the games that he won really convincingly. And then
the
games that he lost pretty convincingly.
Yeah. Good way to put it. Factory coming down here in the proxy position for Ninkazi. Watch to see if this gets scouted and if it's able to do damage. We have seen Monk be very vigilant with these Reapers. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's been really good about that. And I wonder if this is going to be, if he's just going to try to walk Widow Mines up or something similar to that, or if he's just going to go and try to do the drop again and just go straight for the natural.
Well, we're about to find out. Tech Lab immediately getting put down on that factory.
With an armory. Is this Proxy Thor?
Wow. Okay. Why not?
That's awesome.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so we see on Monk's end, we have a factory coming down as well as an expansion finishing up.
Game paused.
What do you do to deal with this as Monk?
I think that you have to... Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think Marauders are good, but you aren't normally going to have Marauders unless you know something like this is coming.
Yeah. Monk says that his mouse completely stopped working, and Ninkazi immediately puts a grinning face. As you do.
So BM.
So we're just waiting for him to fix his issue. At the fastest. Ready.
This keyboard definitely works.
Yep. And we're back. But yeah, I honestly have no idea what you do to hold this as Monk, especially considering he still doesn't have... He's getting attachments on his production, doesn't have any army building, and Monk loses the Reaper. This could just be a build order win. Like, there's still no army in production for Monk here. And he's rushing an upgrade.
You know, I held this off once as Terran with... I was going Mass Reaper, but that was in Platinum League, so I don't know if that carries over or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't.
Because like with the Reapers, they were able to drop the bombs, you know, and like knock
Yeah.
SCVs away and clean up SCVs. And
Ooh, does he see it? He does
wow,
see it. Okay, so he knows
Monk.
what's up.
Monk paused to turn on the map hacks and let
Yeah.
the stream catch up. So, and Thor is out. So I think
Bunker immediately getting
Kazi
placed.
has to like immediately start
Yeah,
pushing with this.
His time is now or never.
And there we go.
Because
The SCVs being pulled out to start the repair. Marines streaming across the map. Bunker coming down. Oh, the Cyclone. That's a good idea. So Cyclone can just hang back and pummel that thing forever.
Yeah, that's really smart.
And there goes the Thor up the ramp. Cyclone locks on and backs off. He's just going to hang out back there
barely doesn't
for as long as he
stop
wants. That is so crazy.
Oh no, it's getting blocked by
Oh,
that
that
SCV.
SCV blocked the Thor. Good game.
Oh, wow. That's so unfortunate.
Scumbag SCV, and Inkazi should just turn around and kill that SCV.
That's brutal.
Double agent. That should be under that SCV's kill count. That should be one,
Yeah, that's so
one
unfortunate.
Thor.
Wow.
And a Liberator going to go out and harass Ninkazi. And that's just going to kind of seal Ninkazi's fate, I feel like.
Yeah. I think whenever you go for a build like that, you don't kill them immediately. It's usually you won't win.
Yeah.
The game.
With a Siege Tank out now with a Cyclone. And that poor Thor is blocked again. SCV's
it's still
counter
getting
Thors
shot.
apparently.
Obviously not doing
that's
anything.
so painful.
But Monk is supply blocked, but I don't think it's really going to make that big a difference.
I mean, it costs money to repair too. So I mean, every time when you're sitting in range of that Cyclone,
Yeah. Just burning money.
and the Liberator gonna fly into the natural, see if there are no SCVs there, and likely go siege up the main. 2 Thors have arrived now, but more and more things just keep showing up for Monk as well, and he has a better economy to back that up. Ninkazi now supply blocked, and there we go. It's fixed. It's fixed because the Liberator is gonna kill all the SCVs.
Yeah. Not a problem.
Oh, these
Yeah.
poor SCVs.
Wow.
This is like a mini game.
This is pretty much what...
Liberator is so ridiculous.
2 recruits are down. More Thors are piling up outside of Monk's base right now. I don't think he's ever going to reach a point where he breaks this.
There is just no way. Not with a Liberator, 2 tanks, and a Cyclone. SCVs there to repair the bunker. Like, it's great that he has that armor upgrade, but that can only do so much.
Yeah. I think at this point, Ninkazi is very thankful that Monk didn't decide to do a best of 3.
Yeah, that's
Thors are getting nice shots off on this bunker, but it's just not enough.
so my prediction's out the window.
It happens, man.
Yours still has a chance though.
Yeah, I just need Ninkazi to win 1. And I'm good.
No, 2, right? You said it was gonna be 2-3.
Oh, I did say 3-2. Oh, man.
Yeah, so we both need Ninkazi to have a comeback here.
Yeah. I need him to, like, have a comeback and then just
And
not.
then lose. Yeah.
Yeah.
So really you just need Monk to like just feel too confident and stop trying for the next couple of games and be like, that's it, I'm gonna try again.
Yeah, just pretty much. Just, like, 2 pity games, and we're good. That's all I need from him.
Oh, those Marines trying to chase down that Liberator was almost very bloody. Oh, and the Iron Range this
Ooh.
time.
Oh,
It's taken out.
Tries to
The
bail out.
Thor is here. Back at home.
meanwhile, Monk getting a pretty sizable force together, and it looks like he will decide to push out with 2 tank attacks, a sizable amount of Marines, and a Cyclone while establishing his 3rd base. At least I think he was going to do that. Yeah, establishing his 3rd base. He is going to go and immediately kill this factory and armory.
And there goes the Thor tech.
Yeah. Monk transferring his workers over to his third base. Still about to finish up here for Ninkazi.
I feel like we need to have the Imperial Death March playing as Monk comes across the screen here, because...
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. It's just... Oh, well,
What?
I don't... Oh, I think he's
Where are
waiting.
those going?
He's waiting for his other team
Okay.
backs. Okay. I can
Alright.
respect that. I'm okay with this.
Yeah, I mean, because it is a decent army from Ninkazi. The 2 Thors, bunch of Marines. I mean, he still has to be smart about it. He can't just suicide in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, okay, there we go.
Yeah, Ninkazi considered holding his third base, but there's no way.
Yeah, it looked like Monk considered running away, but I don't know.
Dude, have you seen how big Thors are? They're scary, man.
I know.
Ninkazi trying to push down here.
Yeah, there's
Taking
too many
huge
siege tanks for
damage.
Monks right now. One Thor gets taken out, the second Thor getting dangerously low, and Monk just walking up the ramp, doesn't even care. There's the
GG.
tap out. But yeah, the Thors. Did you see the Thors in the campaign? Did you play the Wings of Liberty campaign at all?
No, I didn't.
It's like, it's massive. Like, take that Thor and then multiply it by like 5.
Whoa. I need to play the campaign.
It's actually pretty good. Monk
So-
giving some advice in the party chat afterwards.
Nah, good guy, Monk.
Yeah, that's
So,
that always makes people feel better when you try to tell them how to play afterwards.
oh yeah, absolutely. So, if you want to donate to the prize pool of future tournaments, then you can hit the donate now button beneath the stream, and give these guys some extra money. All money goes to the winner, and you can get them a nice little McDonald's feast, or whatever you want, whatever they want.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be food. They might buy,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, if Monk wins, he's probably going to go buy a new mouse. So,
Yeah, and if Ninkazi wins, he'll probably buy a new team. I don't know.
buy some coaching maybe on how to micro Thors. Oh. I hope he doesn't watch that. I'll be
Did
in
you hear
trouble.
about him auctioning off his, like, offering to coach someone for 3 hours if they bought him the division?
It was 8 hours, I think, or something.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like it was like because it came out to be like minimum wage or something like that he was expecting to make off of it, and it was. I think he said he had somebody who was a taker, but I don't know if they actually followed through with it or not.
Spawning in the top right position in the dark blue, it is Ninkazi.
And up 2 games, getting ready to close out the series possibly, it's gonna be Monk.
Horizontal spawn here for both players.
So Ninkazi is supposed to help me with my PVT this weekend, so hopefully I didn't make him too angry with his cast, or he's like,
Well, if you have Ninkazi helping you, you're probably in trouble.
well, yeah, I mean, I'm obviously gonna lose a lot, but I'd rather have somebody like I just need to grind out the same matchup over and over again, because I don't know, I feel like I've hit this wall. Like I was doing really, really well for a while, and then inevitably every time I do really well for a while, I end up just hitting this kind of plateau, and it takes me forever to get good again. So
Are you playing in the CTL lineup, or are you just practicing to practice?
I'm playing in CTL, but I'm trying to get Masters League.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like everybody else, but I've gotten Masters League before, and I got there by just like only knowing one build, and I didn't actually know how to play my race at all outside of those builds. So I'm trying to do it the right way this time, and it's harder.
Looks like Ninkazi is going to decide to get his expansion here. Monk not going to do it. Going to
Yeah.
do it not too far behind him.
Yeah, Ninkazi taking the advice of Monk. You know, Monk told him to play macro game. Ninkazi said, "Thank you, Sensei. I will do that." Yeah, Blaze Adam. The Thor in the campaign was called Odin. That was like and then they took the schematic from Odin and made a whole bunch of Thors from it.
Huh.
I can't remember what it was called though, so I just think.
Yeah, I've seen the Odin in Nexus Wars.
Bike Peddler said there's a bronze match on screen right now.
The Bronze Series right now. Ooh, he
Yes.
plays. Nice little dance.
Maybe Husky will come back to cast that last game for us.
H to the Husky.
Master
Yeah,
League
okay.
Heroes.
There should be a series that's just like Bronze or Masters. And it's just
Yeah.
games like these. Ooh. Nkazi on the run.
Oh, and the Marine pops out to help out.
Oh,
Oh, and the Reaper
And
still
the
gets it,
Reaper
and he's gonna
lives.
escape with his life.
wow.
Monk just embarrassing.
The
Oh, that
SCV.
SCV. What a
What a
badass.
legend.
And then he just gets back to
Wow.
mining like he doesn't even care. He does that every day.
Yeah, that's just another day on the job. Man, what a hero. You see that face in that portrait? That's the face of a hero. Man. Starport coming down for one of these two blue people. Both of them. Both of them have Starports coming down. Third CC on the way for Nkazi. Really taking that advice to heart.
I'm gonna keep that SCV selected for the entire game. See if he
Yeah,
lives. See if he gets any more kills.
I need to find it again, but I'm going to keep it. Yeah. Alright. Keeping him selected.
Because I think he's gonna go places.
Yeah, dude. He has a bright future ahead of him. He's age, like, probably mid-20s, and he's already a war hero.
Yeah.
Still stuck in the dead-end job. It's a rough life in the SCV. Brock loading up here for Monk. I wonder if this is all some elaborate mind game for Monk. Like, he's like, if you just macroed, you could have won. And then now he's just going to all-in the shit out of him and just, like, win. Widowmine burrows, almost gets shot off. Not quite.
Widow mines are always scary though, I think. Like, even if you know they're there, their damage potential is so huge. Nkazi
Yeah.
tries to throw away an SCV and bait out that detonation, but the Marines clean it up first. So it's an SCV sacrifice for nothing. And Nkazi still can't push this away because of that Widow mine.
Yeah.
And one Marine gonna
play
take the hit.
does end up sacrificing.
So now Nkazi will be able to move in and clean this up. The Viking falls though.
Another
bit
one
sloppy
might
there.
fall, not quite.
Nkazi playing a little bit sloppy here. A little bit on tilt
Yeah.
maybe. Mm.
I wonder if did he forget that this Widowmine is here?
I hope not. But it looks like he did. Oh, good. It only targets that one.
Alright. Could have been worse.
And now he remembers and he's gonna go over there.
At least our hero SCV still lives.
That's
what
right.
matters. Viking for Monk just coming out to patrol for any hostile drops. And Monk is getting stim as well as adding on a few more racks and 2 engineering bays. Meanwhile, Nkazi is already about to complete +1 weapons. We've constantly seen Monk fall behind early in upgrades, but then it just not really matter because he has just so much more things.
Yeah, there's a really delicate balance I feel like in this game, especially in Legacy of the Void, where sometimes the upgrades don't pay off right away. Like, it just helps to have more units.
Yeah. I think whenever like both armies are dead even, sure, upgrades will pay off. But
Right.
at the end of the day, like if you're fighting 20 Marines against 50, even you could have +3
Yeah.
over them, you'll probably still lose.
Oh yeah, easily.
Monk establishing his third base, actually a little before Nkazi, but not to a big extent.
I really like that Nkazi is doing this too, where we send this SCV out around the map to make sure that there's no hidden expansions.
Yeah, that's a very good little thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's something easy to forget to do, and it can really come back and bite you later.
Yeah. both players just kind of getting upgrades and sitting back. Monk is about to catch up on upgrades pretty soon here. Has an armory on the way as well as a sensor tower being established. Combat shield starting up. Doesn't look like Ninkasi has those yet, but is starting to stim. And yeah, looks like both players are just gonna kind of settle on 3 bases and get their economy and production up, and be okay with that.
Couple of tanks getting picked up by Medivacs now, so Monk possibly looking to push out now.
Yeah,
There's a scan in the main to see what his opponent's going for.
+2 attack starting up for Ninkasi here, as well as +1 mech attack and +1 armor finishing up fairly soon here. Monk does have a window where he has equal upgrades for his Marines, because he is only just now starting +2 attack, with about 45 seconds later. But his +2 armor will be a lot faster because Ninkasi, I believe, only has 1 engineering bay. There's at least only using 1.
Ninkasi's got 2. His armor just finished. He's got his weapons about halfway done.
Does he have... Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, I'm silly.
Stim pack finishing up for Ninkasi. And now he's going to start combat shields. Meanwhile, though, Monk looked like he's posturing to take a position up here across the top. Scan going down to see where the army's at, and he gets a good scan on that, but so does Ninkasi. And I think Ninkasi having the better position right now. And also the air superiority with those Vikings, so he's just going to push back this for now.
And Monk's just having to sit back. Both players are just about even on workers. Monk is a little bit ahead, about 9.
Yeah.
And yeah, both players are sitting back. Monk and Ninkasi getting a little bit supply blocked. Doesn't actually have any supply deepers on the way, but then also supply blocks Monk.
Monk very supply blocked.
Yeah. Because he's still just cruising with his supply block.
I have faith it's the game for Ninkasi. He's playing this a lot better than he has previous games, keeping tabs on his opponent, keeping in good positions. He's not falling behind in tech.
Utilizing that short rush distance to that 3rd base, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, and then those rocks are still up.
Nice,
and there we go. And Ninkasi loads up a lot of his forces there. Gotta learn how to talk again. Ninkasi doing pretty well. Saved about half of his forces there. Saved all the medevacs.
Monk really needs to take out those rocks if he wants to be able to move to defend those drops easier.
Yeah, I really think if he's going to try to take an aggressive position, then he needs those to be taken out. And it looks like Ninkasi going to try. I guess he's just going to push straight across the front there. He's getting 4th base up of his own, so nice positioning there, and he's going to abuse that chasm once again. When these rocks up, it's really hard for Monk to find a good position. And these Marines just going to protect the tanks while they just shell away at the production.
Yeah, and we're getting the reinforcements as well as they pop out.
Looks like Ninkasi actually going to clear away these rocks now because he wants to start moving into that position. One siege tank
actually might be very bad for him.
Yeah, and these tanks are exposed for Ninkasi. Nice flank here from Monk, and a lot of these Marines getting cleaned up. Actually, for both sides, but it looks like Monk going to take the better engagement.
And Monk,
all of his tanks fall.
All those medevacs, all those Vikings, and 85 supply to 159 of Monk.
And he's even going to try to land the Vikings, do a little bit more harass and lose all those as well.
Yeah, looking back on that fight, Ninkasi should have needed to maintain position out in front of his tanks, so that way Monk could not stim in and get those good volleys off. Because we saw Monk's bio just get underneath everything.
I think he just forgot to pick up his tanks because he moved the Marines in there, and I was really expecting him to right away move the tanks forward also.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess maybe he was expecting Monk to try to push down from his natural in that direction instead of coming from behind. So
Yeah, just
I'm not sure. Either way,
Interesting fight.
really, really unfortunate.
yeah.
Now, I know Ninkazi told me to say he's never behind in TBT, but 196 supply to 116,
He's definitely behind in supply.
dire situation.
Monk is now knocking at the front door, forcing the liftoff on that second base. Ngazi does have 4 bases up, only 2 of which are mining now. Any considerable amount. Tankifax being loaded up here for Monk, and Monk is moving his bio down to pressure this 4th base.
Good response from Ninkazi, getting a lot of
Wow.
Marines for free there. But in the end, he doesn't really have a
Yeah,
lot of
good
bio
volley.
to support that.
From Monk. And Monk, even after losing a fair bit of Marines, is already back at max. Just
Yeah,
about.
Ninkazi now down to 1 mining base.
Has plus
Much
6
lower
back
army
away.
supply.
But yeah, finished up now for Monk.
Well, we're seeing Monk have almost 3 times as much army supply.
Yeah,
Like it's supposed to be like 2.5 times.
138.64. Up 20 workers with 3 mining bases right now compared to the 1, 0,
Yeah.
really.
Monk's even ahead in upgrades.
It looks like Monk, it looks like Ninkazi is going to try and move across the map, but even that's being pretty halted by just the reinforcements, and it's giving Monk time
Yeah.
to reposition his tank backs while leaving the bio, pressuring the main base.
Yes, I mean, Ninkazi winning these engagements, but he can't really keep it up as all these tanks fly in here.
Yeah, he has 87 minerals and 1,500 gas. Not much you can do. GG. Monk takes the series 3-0.
3-0. Did not see that happening.
That was a really good series. I think just Monk was the better player in the end.
Yeah, Monk.
At least today. Like I've
Fierce.
seen. And what's interesting is that Ninkazi beat Monk 2-0 earlier in this same tournament.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know, maybe Ninkazi was tired or whatever, but I felt like there were a lot of situations where Ninkazi kind of threw it away rather than
Yeah.
Monk necessarily. You know, I mean, he took advantage of the situation, but Ninkazi just made a couple of big blunders, and that any mirror matchup, small mistakes just snowball. But
Yeah.
great tournament play by Monk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that just about does it for us. Make sure to tune in to the Chobo Weekly this Sunday, featuring Neru as a special guest. That will be at 7 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Chobo Team League. And tune into this tournament next week at the same time. And thank you for watching, as always. I've been Koltarin.
And I'm Amnesia.
Bye!